Chapter 44-48. Under the transmission of Bai Shaola, the Dragon Blood Legion directly appeared in the 10,000 dragon nest. Today, Bai Shaola's pupil technique is more and more sophisticated. In such a complex environment, it is still easy to send people there. At the beginning, the elders of Tiantong family handed over the inheritance to Longchen, and Longchen passed it to Bai Shaola without reservation. To tell the truth, Bai Shaola's talent is really high, but he has a fatal weakness, that is, he is lazy, playful and can't bear hardships. Otherwise, he wouldn't have the same taste with Guoran and hit it off immediately. Fortunately, Zitong Nine-tailed Demon Fox stared at him, because their souls were connected. Zitong Nine-tailed Demon Fox's strength was obviously too much stronger than Bai Shaola. However, because Bai Shaola is not strong enough, its power will be limited, resulting in powerlessness. Therefore, under the supervision of Purple Pupil Nine-tailed Demon Fox, Bai Shaola sometimes has to work hard. Now Bai Shaola has the current strength. 8 Chengdu is the credit of Zitong Nine-tailed Evil Fox. It can be said that Bai Shaola's single shot and integration with Zitong Nine-tailed Evil Fox are completely two different levels. The Dragon Blood soldiers, who have just been sent around the Dragon Dust, are facing the strong man of the Dark Dragon family who has been killed madly. Their shot is the most fierce kill. Boom boom. Dragon Blood soldiers, like divine soldiers, blocked the way of the strong of the Dark Dragon family. They charged continuously and were blocked back, unable to break through the blockade of the Dragon Blood Legion. Dozens of immortal strong men were directly hacked to death on the spot. This time, the Dragon Blood Corps didn't take the initiative to attack. They killed the enemy and stood in place. They didn't need to kill the enemy, but they didn't interfere with the Dragon Dust. Boom! At this time, the 10,000 dragon nest trembled wildly, and even trembled with the big hand of Long Chen. At that moment, countless people were shocked that Long Chen could really urge the 10,000 dragon nest. If the Dragon Dust really does, the Dark Dragon family will be in danger. I'm afraid even the head of the Dark Dragon family may not be able to block the blow of the 10,000 dragon nest. Many people feel bad and run away. That's the 10,000 dragon nest. If the Dragon Dust can really stimulate its power, the world will become nothingness. When will it wait if they don't run at this time? You idiot, you can't move the 10,000 dragon nest. The old man of the Dark Dragon family shouted angrily. The deputy chief of the Dark Dragon family said to him, "Don't worry about him. Let him waste his energy. When his energy is exhausted, kill him." It turned out that the older generation of strong people of the Dark Dragon family saw that the Dragon Dust could not drive the 10,000 dragon nest even if it had the blood essence of the Dark Dragon sky. Although the 10,000 dragons nest moves, it looks amazing, but the 9 core runes of the 10,000 dragons nest are dead. If you can't activate the 9 runes at the same time, you can't unlock the 10,000 dragons nest. This is common sense. Therefore, the deputy patriarch of the Nether Dragon family, if he doesn't let others remind Longchen, let him waste his energy. Kaka Kaka. Dragon Dust holds the 10,000 dragon nest with his big hand. On his whole arm, endless rune chains are rooted in the 10,000 dragon nest and bind it firmly. With the efforts of Dragon Dust, the 10,000 dragon nest is moving slowly. With its movement, the world roars and bursts, and countless cracks appear in the void. What a terrible force! Someone exclaimed that Dragon Dust should use brute force to move such a huge 10,000 dragon nest. It's amazing! The strong people of the Dark Dragon family have a sneer on their faces. Although they are also shocked by the physical power of Dragon Dust, they can't control the 10,000 dragon nest by brute force alone. They will only waste their strength in vain. You step back and help me fight, Longchen told Guoran and others. Guoran and others nodded and began to spread slowly. However, they still took Dragon Dust as the core and formed a protective circle. If someone dares to attack Dragon Dust, they can support it immediately. Boom! In the eyes of countless people, the huge 10,000 dragon nest is moving slowly, but it is not moving in parallel, but slowly moving upward with the Dragon Dust as the center. The 10,000 dragon nest is too big, just like a world. It was at the foot of Dragon Dust. Soon, with its movement, he began to move slowly to the top of dragon dust. What does he want? Does he want to hit people with the 10,000 dragon nest? People exclaimed. They saw that the dragon dust was going to lift the 10,000 dragon nest. At this time, Long Chen has changed from one arm to two arms. The green veins on his forehead burst and his blood surged all over his body. Obviously, his power has been used to the extreme. The void at the foot of dragon dust kept exploding and breaking. It seemed that it could not bear the weight of the 10,000 dragon nest, but at this time, the 10,000 dragon nest was really lifted up by dragon dust. The 10,000 dragons nest is huge. Half of it has disappeared into the 9 days. It seems that it will touch the stars. A mole ant-like figure holds the 10,000 dragons nest covering the sky. The scene is terrible and unforgettable all his life. Idiot, if he wants to hit us with the 10,000 dragon nest, it's a big joke. He inverted the 10,000 dragons nest and endured endless power. Once the 10,000 dragons nest is released, the 10,000 dragons nest will automatically restore its direction and still float on the earth. The deputy chief of the Ming dragon family sneered in his heart. He was happy to see the dragon dust wasted his efforts. Although the 10,000 dragon nest floats on the earth, it looks light, but once inverted, its power is comparable to that of a world. If it was someone else, it would have been crushed. The power of dragon dust is amazing. He even put the 10,000 dragon nest upside down and lifted it up. In other words, he is now alone and bears all the power of the 10,000 dragon nest. Originally, this time is the best time to sneak into Longchen. If Longchen's strength is loose, Longchen will be crushed to death by Wanlong's nest. But no one dares to attack him, because if dragon dust throws Wanlong's nest, they will be hit by Wanlong's nest. Even if there are 10,000 lives, it's not enough. Kaka kaka. The void roared and the world trembled, but people didn't know what dragon dust was going to do. At this time, Yiling's seal began to show a large area of cracks. Obviously, the head of the Ming dragon family was about to break the seal. Although she didn't know what Longchen was going to do, Yiling could only bite her teeth and insist. There was a strange flame above her head, and her face became more and more pale. In order to control the seal, now she has begun to burn her original power to buy more time for Longchen. In the distance, the little crane is still dancing to her heart's content. However, the colorful auspicious light around her is not as strong as before and begins to become thin. At this time, her 3 ants were sweating on their foreheads. Obviously, they were also trying to stick to it, but they didn't seem to last long. For a time, everyone's eyes focused on Longchen. Everyone present didn't know what Longchen was going to do, and the whole world became nervous. Boom! Suddenly, the dragon dust sword eyebrow stood up, the foot kicked fiercely, the void at the foot burst into pieces, and the huge 10,000 dragon nest was pushed up several feet. Take it from me, dragon dust roared, and suddenly a huge black hole appeared behind him, like a big mouth, slowly swallowed the 10,000 dragon nest. What? At that moment, countless people's eyes would protrude. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 44-49 On the Void, a huge black hole appeared, aiming at the 10,000 dragon nest. As soon as it appeared, part of the 10,000 dragon nest had entered the black hole. He wants to put away the 10,000 dragon nest? Some people exclaimed that it was an extremely crazy move, which surprised everyone. If you want to put something into a space, you must first have the power to lift it. At this time, people finally understand that dragon dust spends so much power, not to hit people with it, but to take it away. Everyone present was stunned and put away the 10,000 dragon nest. Even the saint could not do it. Whether it was star space, soul space, or other space, it would be burst by the 10,000 dragon nest. When more than half of the 10,000 dragons nest was swallowed by the black hole, people finally believed that the dragon dust really wanted to take away the 10,000 dragons nest. Kill him. At this time, the strong people of the dark dragon family suddenly went crazy, and the previous sneer turned into panic. If the 10,000 dragon nest was taken away by the dragon dust, the dark dragon family would be finished. The Dark Dragon family who lost the 10,000 dragon nest would be abandoned, and everything would start from scratch. The strong men of the Dark Dragon family roared. They rushed to the dragon dust crazy, but as soon as they shot, the dragon blood soldiers moved. Boom boom. The dragon blood warriors form a steel wall to resist the attack of the Dark Dragon family. When the dragon blood warriors take the defensive, the Dark Dragon family can't shake their defense at all. Now the strong of the Dark Dragon family are less than 1/10 of the original. In the face of the powerful Dragon Blood Legion, they seem so powerless that they can only watch the 10,000 dragon nest be swallowed up. Grandpa, come out quickly. If you don't come out again, the Ming Dragon family will be over. A strong man of the Ming Dragon family cried loudly and hoarse. Friends from all over the world, please help us, the Ming Dragon family. I must remember your great kindness. The deputy chief of the Ming Dragon family cried to the strong people in the distant world. Unfortunately, no one helped him this time. They did it before mainly because it was profitable. On the one hand, they wanted to win the favor of the Dark Dragon family, on the other hand, they wanted to seize the treasure of the dragon dust, and on the other hand, they could kill the top Tianjiao of the human family and avoid future troubles. However, now the strong and powerful strength of dragon dust makes them scared. Before they shot, I don't know how many people died miserably in the hands of dragon dust and under the attack of Dragon Blood Legion. Although they still have a large number of people, the strongest part has been killed by dragon dust. Now it's too risky for them to do it again. Now, the head of the Ming Dragon family is trapped, and the awakened Ming Dragon Tianjiao is beaten into a dog by the dragon dust. Now he doesn't know whether he lives or dies. The elite of the Pluto Dragon family have been completely damaged, and there is no one in 10. Now, even the 10,000 dragon nest that the Pluto Dragon family depends on will be taken away by the dragon dust. The Pluto Dragon family now is not at the same level as the Pluto Dragon family when they first came. Now the promise of the Pluto Dragon family is worthless. No one is willing to take another risk for their friendship. Buzzing, buzzing. The void roared and exploded, and the 10,000 dragon nest was constantly swallowed. It was constantly glowing and seemed to be struggling. However, without the key of the head of the Dark Dragon family, it could not play its own strength. The 10,000 dragon's nest is like a beast trapped in a cage. It has amazing power in the air, but it can't play. It can only be swallowed up. No. The strong men of the Dark Dragon family cry loudly. That is the foundation of the Dark Dragon family and their hope for the future. If there is no 10,000 dragon nest, the Dark Dragon family will really be finished. Boom! Suddenly, 2 explosions sounded at the same time, and Yiling's seal finally couldn't hold up and burst. The dragon dust just took away the 10,000 dragon nest, and the space behind it was closed. Surrender the 10,000 dragon nest. The head of the Dark Dragon family broke the seal and roared. Although he was trapped in the barrier, he could see everything around him clearly. He was already crazy. His son's life and death were unknown, and his people were killed in scattered ways. Even the foundation of the Ming Dragon family, the 10,000 dragon nest, was taken away. He was completely crazy. Guo ran, facing the death of the head of the Dark Dragon family. The dragon dust didn't hide at all and stopped drinking. Guo ran immediately understood the meaning of Long Chen and came to Long Chen in a flash. Pa Long Chen put his big hand on Guo Ran's back, followed by Gu Yang, Xia Chen, Li Qi and Song Mingyuan. Except Yu Zifeng, all the dragon blood soldiers put their hands behind the former one. Buzz, the dragon blood power of dragon dust erupted like a tsunami. At the same time, all the dragon blood soldiers gathered all their forces together without reservation and rushed to Guo Ran's armor, which burst out like the sun in an instant. All runes and Jiuli immortal scripts on Guo Ran's body lit up. 2 war knives were placed on his chest, crossed, and aimed at the head of the Ming Dragon family with a roar. Dragon blood cross cut, boom, the cross flew out, which contained all the power of the Dragon Blood Legion, and hit the head of the Dark Dragon family heavily. Die for Meth head of the Dark Dragon family roared and smashed with a fist. It belongs to the divine power of the saint and radiates 9 days and 10 places. Boom! With a loud explosion, Longchin and others flew out. Together, they still couldn't resist the attack of the saint. However, one arm of the head of the Ming dragon family was so bloody that he also suffered a great loss. One arm had lost consciousness and could not be raised. People are shocked that dragon dust and others have the strength to hurt the saint, which is unimaginable. Surrender the 10,000 dragon nest, the head of the dark dragon family roared wildly. His right hand didn't listen to orders, and his left claw broke the air and went straight to the dragon dust. When they were approached by the head of the dark dragon family, the dragon blood soldiers were shocked to find that they were too oppressed by the Holy One to move. Dragon dust was shocked and angry. He didn't expect that the real saint was more terrible than he thought. He still couldn't hurt him by gathering everyone's strength. Seeing the leader of the dark dragon family killed, he is the only person here who is not influenced by the Holy One, so he will sacrifice the heaven and earth tripod. However, the heaven and earth tripod can only defend passively. He is not afraid of the collision of weapons. He is afraid of this magical attack. Even if the heaven and earth tripod can block the attack of the saints, he will be shocked to death. But now I can only fight hard. At the moment when Long Chen was going to sacrifice the heaven and earth tripod, suddenly a figure fell from the sky and stood in front of Long Chen. When he saw the iron tower-like figure, Long Chen was surprised and happy. Lord Hull, dragon dust didn't expect that the Lord of the Hall shot at the critical moment. Boom, as like as two peas, the main minister came to the same place and was struck by a claw. Boom, the explosion shook the sky. Before Long Chen and others could see the situation clearly, they were shaken by the terrible vigorous wind and flew out. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4450. The Lord of the Temple stood on the void, his chi and blood soared to the sky, and the vast divine power came from the sky and the earth. Behind the Lord of the Temple, a dark dragon stretched across the sky and looked down on the ages. The Lord of the Hall clapped his palm down, and the head of the Ming dragon family who rushed here was shocked back and forth. Every step back, the void under his feet burst into pieces. He stepped back 7 steps before he stabilized his body. When you see the Lord of the Temple, the head of the dark dragon family is shocked and angry. The Lord of the Temple is clearly just an immortal realm, but his blood is surging and shaking the stars. Go away. The Lord of the Temple beat back the head of the dark dragon family with one palm, but he didn't take the opportunity to attack. He stood with his hand behind his back and said coldly, "You traitor of the dragon clan, I should have broken you to pieces. However, you have lost the 10,000 dragon nest and exhausted most of your physical strength. You have long lost your peak state. Killing you at this time will damage the reputation of the pretty dragon family. The arrogant Manlong people disdain to take advantage of the danger of others. Go away." The Lord of the Hall is tall and stands on the void. His violent blood and chi invade the heavens. He is clearly an immortal strong man, but his power is no less than that of the head of the Ming dragon family at the peak. As soon as the Lord appeared, it shocked the whole audience. Although countless people have heard of the Lord's terror before, an immortal strong man has not been paid attention to. After all, now in the era of Tianjiao blowout and immortality everywhere, an immortal strong man is really too insignificant. But the Lord of the Temple could fight with the terrible saint, the head of the dark dragon family, and force him back. It's terrible. Moreover, listening to the tone of the Lord of the Hall, he disdained to kill the head of the Ming dragon family. Looking at his boundless power, people finally realized that although Lingxiao Academy has declined, the inside information is still amazing. Although the dark dragon family is powerful, it is much worse than Lingxiao Academy. Just a dragon dust and dragon blood legion almost destroyed them. Now the appearance of the Lord of the Hall has shaken back the head of the Ming dragon family. It seems that the strength of Lingxiao Academy only shows the tip of the iceberg. Hand over the 10,000 dragon nest, otherwise. The clan leader of the Ming dragon family roared. How can he be reconciled when the 10,000 dragon nest is in the hands of the dragon dust? The sun's life and death are unknown, and the 10,000 dragon nest is also taken away. In this way, the Ming dragon family will completely decline, which the Ming dragon family can't afford. Either get out or die. Choose your own way. If you can give me a reason to have to kill you, I will be very happy. The Hall Lord looked at the head of the Ming dragon family and said coldly. The Hall Lord's tone was tough and overbearing. He directly interrupted the leader of the Dark Dragon family. The leader of the Dark Dragon family trembled with anger. He looked at Yi Ling in the distance, Longchen and others, and finally turned to the Lord of the Temple. At that moment, his heart was full of regret. The reason why he let Minglong Tianzhao challenge Longchen was to become famous in World War I and maintain the advantage of Minglong Tianzhao as the first to awaken the destiny. As long as the Dark Dragon Tianzhao can defeat the Dragon Dust, even if he doesn't kill him, he can immediately improve the popularity of the Dark Dragon family. As the first force to challenge Lingshao Academy, it is a display of absolute strength. At that time, countless forces in the world will surrender to the Nether Dragon family. At that time, the Nether Dragon Tianzhao will gather the people who are expected to be destiny in the world and form an army of destiny. At that time, who can compete with the Nether Dragon family? Unfortunately, his wishful thinking couldn't go on here. He thought he could eat a mouthful of fat meat. As a result, the fat meat turned into stone. He didn't get any oil and water, but broke his teeth. Before, the head of the Ming dragon family consumed a lot of original power in order to break away from Yi Ling's seal as soon as possible. Now he has less than 70% of his combat power. Just now, he was shocked to find that the immortal strong man of the dragon family was so terrible. Although he fought, the strong man's feeling told him that the Hall Lord was extremely strong. Even in the peak period, he may not be sure that he can beat it. Now, there is no chance. If he works hard, he will not recapture the 10,000 dragon nest, but will take his own life. If he dies, the Pluto dragon family will be completely ruined, because those enemies will have no scruples and directly uproot the Pluto dragon family. Okay. The head of the Ming dragon family gnashed his teeth, said 3 good words, and continued. This time, the Ming dragon family recognized it. Let's go. As soon as the leader of the Ming dragon family said this, countless strong people present were shocked. Did the Ming dragon family admit defeat? The Dragon Dust and the Lord of the Hall were somewhat moved. The life and death of his son was unknown, and the 10,000 dragon nest was taken away. It is reasonable to say that the head of the Ming dragon family must be desperate to fight. The head of the Dark Dragon family recognized the planting directly, which was beyond the expectation of Long Chen. At the same time, it also woke up Long Chen. The head of the Dark Dragon family is a ruthless role. Not everyone can do it. In this case, he can keep calm and weigh the interests, which shows that the head of the Dark Dragon family is a character. Patriarch, we can't. An immortal strong man cried with a cry. Obviously, he was unwilling to lose the 10,000 dragon nest. Shut up, the head of the Dark Dragon family shouted angrily and waved his hand. The strong people of the Dark Dragon family trembled and dared not speak again. Then the head of the Ming dragon family looked back at the cold tunnel between the Dragon Dust and the Hall Lord. This revenge will be avenged by the Ming dragon clan. Long Chen looked at the head of the Ming dragon family and nodded. You're right. We haven't finished the account yet. This time it'll take your 10,000 dragon nest, and next time it'll take your body. I will let all traitors know that there will be no good end to betraying their fellow countrymen. The Dark Dragon family took refuge in the underworld and betrayed the Dragon family. In order to surrender, I don't know how many dragon families were betrayed by the Dark Dragon family and killed. This is also why the Dark Dragon family will be so hated. Therefore, the hatred between the Dragon Dust and the Dark Dragon family can only be terminated by the complete extinction of one party. We'll see. The head of the Dark Dragon family snorted coldly and then turned away. The other strong men of the Dark Dragon family followed him with sad faces and without saying a word. When they came here, the Dark Dragon family had a magnificent posture and a prosperous formation. There were millions of elite of the Dark Dragon family. Now less than 1/10 of them are left. Their despondent appearance is shocking. Because of a decision, the powerful Ming dragon family wanted to be the strongest in the world, but now they are disheartened and have gone to decline, which no one can imagine. But in less than a day, a tyrannical, brilliant and prosperous race suddenly declined, and the shock brought to people could not be subsided for a long time. When people look at the dragon dust again, their eyes are full of awe. When the dark dragon family begins to retreat, countless strong people in all major worlds are just about to take action. Whoever dares to move any corpse on the battlefield, I'll kill him now. Suddenly, the sound of dragon dust's cold drink came. www.ninefold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4451. The strong members of the Pluto dragon family began to retreat. The high-level members of the Pluto dragon family went first and left a group of people to collect the bodies of the strong members of the Pluto dragon family. Not only the Ming dragon family, but also the strong people of other families have to collect the corpses for the strong people of their family. Although some corpses have become broken meat, they can still be identified. The corpses should be collected and the people can't expose the corpses in the wilderness. But Longchen's words surprised and angered them. Longchen didn't allow them to collect the bodies of their own people. What do you mean? At this time, the top leaders of the Ming dragon family had not gone far. The head of the Ming dragon family roared and asked. The meaning is obvious. The whole battlefield is my booty. Since you want my life, you have to pay the price. Longchen said coldly. We absolutely don't allow others to humiliate our martyrs. Martyrs can be killed but not humiliated. An alien strongman roared. Poof! The alien strongman just roared halfway, and an arrow pierced his eyebrows and killed him in an instant. Holding a golden crossbow, Guoran sneered. A group of things who don't know how to live or die. Since you chose to fight us, you should know what consequences to bear. No shame? Well, who can't? Stand up, our Dragon Blood Corps promises to kill you without shame and let you die face to face. Guoran and others have a sarcastic look on their faces. These foreign nationalities from all major worlds are bullies and afraid of hardness. They are afraid of authority but not virtue. Reasoning to them is tantamount to casting pearls before swine. Guoran's words changed the color of countless strong people present. They didn't dare to challenge the Dragon Blood Legion. Although the Dragon Blood Legion seems to be at the end of a powerful crossbow at this time, behind the Dragon Blood Legion, there is the terror of the Temple Lord behind it. For a moment, these forces were shocked and angry. They all looked at the Dark Dragon family. Among the strong people present, the strong people of the Dark Dragon family died the most. They wanted to see what the attitude of the Dark Dragon family was. Dragon dust, don't deceive people too much, the head of the Ming dragon family roared. He didn't know that Longchen really needed these bodies, but thought that Longchen deliberately humiliated them and made the Dark Dragon family ugly. It's too much to deceive people, so what about you? Longchen was too lazy to talk nonsense and directly replied. The head of the Dark Dragon family was so angry that his hair stood upright. He turned his head and looked at the Hall Lord coldly. Everyone belongs to the dragon family. Do you just let him act like this? The Lord of the Temple said, You traitor, dare to call yourself a dragon. It's okay not to mention the dragon. I want to kill all of you when I mention the dragon. Get out before I change my mind. The head of the Dark Dragon family was so angry that he trembled all over. As soon as he gritted his teeth and turned away, the other strong people of the Dark Dragon family could only leave with their eyes full of resentment. Even the corpse is not allowed to be collected, which is a great humiliation for the Dark Dragon family, but their skills are not as good as people. They can't help but swallow it. The ghost dragons left their bodies, and other races could only swallow their anger and dared not clean the battlefield. They even dared not collect some of their own magic soldiers scattered on the battlefield. That taste made them feel miserable. Clean the battlefield, Gaga, now you're rich. Before the enemy finished walking, Guoran and Xiaqin shouted excitedly. They immediately rushed to the battlefield. Other dragon blood soldiers also began to help clean the battlefield. Obviously, Xiaqin and Guoran are deliberately angry with those people. Some foreign strongmen are angry and cry, but there is no way, so they can only accelerate to leave this sad place. Shall we say hello? In the distance, Jiang Wenyu asked tentatively in the strong camp of the Jiang family. At this time, it's just a hot face and a cold ass. Since you don't have the courage to deliver charcoal in the snow, don't be a frivolous villain. Not only do others look down on you, so that you won't look down on yourself in the future. Feng Fei shook her head and said, Now you want to get close? What have you been doing? At first, you dragged like an uncle one by one. Is it useful to pretend to be a grandson now? Besides losing face, what else can it bring? Feng Fei knows Long Qin too well and keeps a certain distance. Maybe she will let Long Qin keep such a good impression on her. If this time passes, the only good impression will disappear. Let's go. Feng Fei summoned the people of the Jiang family. Anyway, this trip was not in vain. She watched a world-shaking war, which was of great benefit to each of them. Originally, the Tianjiao of the Yuan family were arrogant. Although Jiang Wenyu tried to keep a low profile on the surface, it was also pretended. He deliberately converged in order to obtain the position of home owner, so as to obtain the support of the strong of the older generation. In fact, he is no different from the other two quasi-destiny people. The only better thing about Jiang Wenyu is that he knows to restrain. Now I have watched the battle between Dragon Dust and Dark Dragon Tianjiao. These arrogant guys in ordinary days are completely wilting like frost eggplant. The world-shaking battle between Long Qin and Minglong Tianjiao completely broke their confidence, and they also saw the dimensional gap between themselves and them. What hit them most was that they could not compare with Long Qin, Guoran, Xiaqin, Yu Zifeng and others, even with ordinary dragon blood soldiers. They felt that they were a frog at the bottom of a well who had never seen the world. The older generation of strong people of the dragon family are also in a very complex mood, and their hearts are also full of remorse. If the Jiang family can give him some help when the dragon dust is weak, the relationship is even iron. Unfortunately, Long Qin has reached this level now. Even if the Yuan family tries their best to please Long Qin, I'm afraid they have little chance. Some things, once missed, there is no room for remedy. When Feng Fei left with someone, she suddenly felt a sense of heart and turned to look at Long Qin. She saw that Long Qin was looking at herself. Long Qin nodded to her slightly. Feng Fei's eyes were red and her tears almost burst into tears. She tried to keep calm, nodded with Long Qin and turned around to take people away. Seeing Long Qin nodding to Feng Fei, the disciples of the Yuan family were very excited. One disciple said, Sister Feng Fei, why don't you invite senior brother Long Qin to our Jiang family? Get out, Feng Fei shouted angrily. No one expected that Feng Fei would suddenly become so angry that she was scared to shrink the disciple's neck and dare not speak again. Feng Fei is miserable. Long Qin's feelings for her are actually a pity. She knows Long Qin. Long Qin knows her better. It is because she knows her that she is better for her. This kind of good makes her feel both happy and uncomfortable. She is also a proud person. She doesn't want others to pity her. That kind of good is a kind of charity. Only Long Qin knew the bitterness in her heart, and these disciples thought that Long Qin might like Feng Fei and asked her to invite Long Qin as a guest. Feng Fei was so angry that she almost cried on the spot. When Feng Fei left with the Jiang family, all the spectators left consciously. When only his own people were left on the battlefield, Dragon Dust sank his mind into the chaotic space to carefully appreciate his booty. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4452. The huge 10,000 dragons nest floats in the chaotic space. In the outside world, the 10,000 dragons nest is a big killer that destroys the sky and the earth, but here, it dare not move. What are you going to do with it? The heaven and earth tripod appears in front of the dragon dust. It is the only existence that can freely enter and leave the chaotic space and soul space of the dragon dust. What instructions do you have? Asked Long Qin. For the 10,000 dragon nest, you have two choices. The first is that you can use the power here to suppress it and make it yield. With it, you will have the strength to challenge the Holy One. Qian Ding said, The strength to challenge the saints? That is to say, when I meet the saints, I dare not say I will win? asked Long Chen. Qian Kuan Ding said, the 10,000 dragon nest has the will of countless generations of strong people of the Ming dragon family. It will not easily yield. Even if it is controlled by you under the pressure of chaotic space, it will not serve you wholeheartedly. If you want to use it, you must use its power, which needs to consume your own original power. You are not a saint. You can only use 1/10 of its power at most, and if it does not cooperate, this 1/10 of its power is only a conservative estimate, which is likely to be less. In the face of ordinary saints, you can protect yourself, but it is difficult to defeat the saints. It is even more impossible to kill them. Long Chen nodded, which was almost as he expected. The 10,000 dragon nest of the Dark Dragon family must be urged by the blood of the Dark Dragon family. He has real dragon blood essence. If it is other 10,000 dragon nests, he can drive it. However, the Dark Dragon family has betrayed the Dragon family and will not agree with his blood force. Otherwise, at the beginning, the dragon dust did not need to use the blood essence of the Dark Dragon Tianzhao to collect it. Then he'll choose the second one, Long Chen said. The heaven and earth tripod seemed stunned. After a while, he asked, I didn't say what the second option is. Dragon Dust smiled and said, the second choice is to throw it directly into the black soil and absorb it. Turn it into nourishment. The 10,000 dragon nest is composed of endless dragon corpses. After it is decomposed, it will release unimaginable power of life. At that time, more thousand-leaf holy light snow lotus can be produced, and I can refine more holy light snow lotus pills. It is a great benefit for both my predecessors and myself. After being silent for a while, Chen Kuan-Ding said, in fact, the second method is the most helpful for me, but it's not so helpful for you. Because of my attributes, I can't give you too much help. Many times, I can only passively help you resist some attacks. I can't shatter the spear that shines on the dark dragon sky, if it doesn't stab me directly, but attacks me with magic power from a long distance. Although the 10,000 dragon nest is of little help to you, with it, you have an extra life-saving card. Dragon Dust has always called it Heaven and Earth Tripod, but in fact, it is only one of the two tripods of Heaven and Earth. Kun belongs to water and water conservancy, and all things are indisputable. This is its unchangeable characteristic. It is an alchemy artifact, but not a killing artifact. Killing is contrary to its nature, so it really doesn't help Long Chen much. Although it wants to refine more Xinguang Xuelian pills, it can't be too selfish. It should make it clear to Long Chen. Dragon Dust smiled and said, in this world, what absolute life protection card is there? Don't believe too much about life-saving cards. Otherwise, I won't beat Minglong Tianzhao into a dog. If he hadn't sacrificed himself at the critical moment, he would have died in my hands. Any life-saving card is not as real as improving your strength. Xinguang Xuelian pill improves the fundamental strength of my predecessors and me. The two cannot be compared. You still have to think about it clearly. After all, the help I can give you is really limited. Heaven and Earth Ding said. It is also afraid of the danger of dragon dust in the future. It can't do anything by itself, but complain. It is one of the top 10 chaotic artifacts. It has its own pride. It won't deceive dragon dust for its own sake. I've thought clearly for a long time. All runes in the 10,000 dragon nest are for the cultivation of the dark dragon family. My brothers have practiced dragon blood body refining, which is the magic power of the real dragon family. They disdain to absorb the essence blood in the 10,000 dragon nest to strengthen themselves. And I, as the inheritor of the real dragon family, although I am a Terran, I also want to inherit the pride of the dragon family and the things of traitors. I want to use them. Long Chen shook his head. Although the dragon dust knows that the 10,000 dragon nest is extremely terrible, it can extract the saint's blood essence. If it is absorbed by the dragon blood soldiers, the strength will immediately soar to an amazing level. But dragon blood refining comes from the real dragon family. How can dragon dust use the traitor's blood essence to improve his strength? What's the difference between that and betraying the dragon clan? When Long Chen said this, Heaven and Earth Ding said, then I'm relieved. I don't want to affect your judgment of pros and cons because of me. Don't worry, Master. It's fate for you and me to meet. I'm very grateful to you for helping me several times. If one day I die of defeat, I will never complain to you. Dragon Dust Road. At that moment, the heaven and earth tripod was suddenly silent and did not continue to speak. At this time, Longchen's mind had withdrawn from the heaven and earth tripod. In such a large chaotic space, the heaven and earth tripod vibrates and endless runes flow around the body. On the sky, the golden lotus seeds shine like the sun, as if they were communicating with the heaven and earth tripod. Finally, Chen Kuan-ding sighed. I haven't understood what is right and what is wrong for countless years. Forget it. I'd better wait for Kunding to return. My brain is very stupid. It still has the best idea. With a sigh, the heaven and earth tripod disappeared from the chaotic space and returned to the soul space of dragon dust to rest. Don't worry, boss. These bodies are too precious. We have to deal with them slowly before we can give you the waste. Guoran saw Long Chen coming and was busy cleaning the battlefield. There are too many corpses here. The crystal nuclei and inner alchemy in the corpses are priceless. Some corpses need to be handled by Xia Chen and Guoran, so the progress of battlefield cleaning is a little slow. It took 3 days to clean the battlefield. During the cleaning of the battlefield, the Lord of the Temple had escorted the sleeping little crane back to the academy first. Xia here this time, in order to help Yi Ling resist the power of heaven and temporarily restore her saint strength, it consumed a lot, which hurt Longchen and others. It can be said that without Xia here, there would be no complete victory in this battle. 3 days later, the battlefield was finally cleaned, and the dragon blood soldiers left happily, leaving only a sunken Tianxia state. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4453. The news of the First World War in Tianxia Prefecture spread and caused a sensation in 9 days and 10 places. The battle between the Holy King and the First Destiny is known as the strongest battle among the young Tianjiao in modern times. The name of Dragon Dust, like rolling thunder, spread all over every corner of 9 days and 10 places. However, many people didn't see the war with their own eyes. They just listened to people's statements and always felt a little exaggerated. They didn't believe that the Dragon Dust and the Dark Dragon Tianjiao were really so strong. The reason why rumors are called rumors is that they are exaggerated. But there's no way. The battle between Dragon Dust and Ming Dragon Tianjiao contains the secret of heaven. You can only watch it, but you can't record it with images. The photo jade can't record this scene, which is not allowed by the way of heaven, and many people watch the war through the big array and can't feel the terrorist power. However, from the picture of the world breaking apart and tearing apart, they began to make brain repair, and then add their own understanding, and began to tell the wonderful of the war vividly. It was like that he was next to them as a referee. After all, seeing such a terrible war is the capital to show off to others. Anyway, others haven't seen it. They blow up naturally for the sake of excellence. 1 pass, 10 pass, and 100 pass. Each messenger adds his own understanding. As a result, Longchen is passed on as a monster with 3 heads and 6 arms. Although there are hundreds of versions of the rumors, it remains the same that Dragon Dust defeated the Dark Dragon Tianjiao anyway. It is an indisputable fact that the Holy King of the Terran defeated the First Destiny, and this fact makes the hearts of countless quasi-destiny people mixed. Their goal is to awaken the destiny. They think that awakening the destiny can be invincible in the world. As a result, Minglong Tianjiao, as the first person to awaken the destiny, was defeated by Longchen, which gave them a great blow. The Dark Dragon Tianjiao is arrogant. In fact, shit is not. When I wake up the destiny, take off the dragon dust head and show the whole world. What kind of shit king is just a mole ant in front of the destiny? Some people refused to accept and spoke wildly, but after they spoke wildly, they disappeared. I don't know if I really went to close the door to awaken my destiny, or I was afraid of being pulled out by Dragon Dust and beaten, so I was scared to hide. Dragon Dust fought a decisive battle with the Dark Dragon Tianjiao. The viewers were basically the strong ones of the Dark Haoyan, and the strong ones of the other days didn't know at all. Therefore, when this news was transmitted, it shocked countless worlds. When they heard that someone in Ming Haoyan had awakened their destiny, they were shocked. It was too fast. Just after receiving the news that someone awakened the destiny, they received the news that the destiny was defeated. People were even more stunned. The two news completely shocked them. Some people are shocked, some are awed, and some are not satisfied. Both Terrans and foreign strongmen doubt the authenticity of this war. However, today's Tianjiao are desperately awakening their destiny and have no time to investigate. However, this war has pushed Longchen to the forefront of the storm. As the first person to awaken the destiny, Minglong Tianjiao is already the first person to stand on the altar. As soon as he stood on the altar, he was kicked down by dragon dust. Now, there is only Longchen on the altar. As the saying goes, there is no first in literature and no second in martial arts. This position is bound to become the target of countless strong men and a place of bloody slaughter. Longchen doesn't care about this. He doesn't even think about the impact that will be brought to him after the war. Now he has completely changed his practice attitude. He doesn't do any long-term consideration anymore. He's too tired. When Longchen returns to Lingshao Academy with the Dragon Blood Legion, Lingshao Academy is still calm, just as it was when Longchen left. However, the next day Lingshao Academy blew the pot. Now they know that when they closed their doors and practiced, Longchen has defeated the first terrorist to awaken the destiny of heaven in 9 days and 10 places. You know, Lingshao Academy has been targeted by various forces during this period, and its disciples basically don't go out, so a lot of news comes in very slowly. But when the explosive news came, the whole Lingshao Academy was boiling. A few days ago, the Dragon Blood Legion sent out, and many disciples were still whispering about what they were going to do. Now when the news came, they knew that the Dragon Blood Corps had quietly done a big thing. After doing it, they came back quietly, which was too low-key. The top leaders of Lingshao Academy didn't mention it at all. Although the external gatekeepers knew about the war, the top leaders asked them to keep it secret, and they kept their mouth shut. When someone passed the detailed news back, they heard that Longchen not only defeated the Ming Dragon Tianjiao, but also took away the lifeblood of the Ming Dragon family, Wan Long's nest, and also beheaded countless immortal strong men and quasi-destiny people. They were not allowed to take the bodies. Hearing the news, the disciples of the academy shouted with excitement. Since the opening of the world, countless Tianjiao have targeted the college disciples, who have often been provoked and humiliated. Now they can only shrink in the academy and dare not even go out, let alone how much they are oppressed. Longchen fought back hard and gave them a bad breath, which is a pleasure. When the disciples tried to go out, they found that the creatures who had been shouting outside the academy had already disappeared. Obviously, they were scared away. For a time, Longchen was like a god in the hearts of the disciples of the academy. His admiration and worship for Longchen could not be described in words. Sha sha. The broom crossed the ground. It was clear that the ground was clean, but with the movement of the broom, some dust was still swept out. The broom was held by a pair of hands like withered bamboo. It was an old man in rags who swept the floor. Although his clothes were old and dirty, his clothes were spotless. Master Jinyuan, when can you let me do it once? I'm going to be crazy if you always wipe people's ass like this. I won't let you do it. Next to the old man sweeping the floor, there is the Hall Lord like an iron tower. At this time, the Lord of the temple, where is there a trace of normal pressure, just like an angry little daughter-in-law, with a complaining look on her face. The old man continued to sweep the floor and said faintly, "It's not enough. Keep holding it." This. The Lord of the temple was so anxious that he scratched his head. "Lord Jingyuan, my body will rust if I go on like this." Finally, the old man stopped his broom and looked at the Hall Lord with muddy eyes. The Hall Lord immediately stood up, straight and respectful, waiting for the old man to lecture. "Haste your chance." The old man smiled. The Hall Lord was stunned. Soon he sensed that a man was coming here. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4454, Lord, are you there? What Longchen didn't expect was that the lord of the temple was here. In passing by here to say hello to the master of the clean house. The lord of the hall coughed. Of course, he can't say he's here to complain. I've seen the master of the clean house. Longchen quickly saluted the old man sweeping the floor. The master of the clean house smiled and said, I saw the battle with the dark dragon Tianzhao. It was very wonderful. Flattered by Master Jinyuan. Longchen hurriedly and modestly said. When Longchen arrived, the old man sweeping the floor put his broom on the steps, sat down slowly on the flower bed next to him and said, You just came. I have something to tell you. The boy is all ears. Longchen hurried and sat on the ground at the same time. The lord of the hall also sat on the ground. Even if you are the lord of the hall, he can only sit down as a disciple, not as high as the old man sweeping the floor. This is about Emperor Ming. You should be careful, said the old man sweeping the floor. Isn't the Emperor Ming in nirvana? The dragon dust won't attract its attention. The lord of the temple looked awe-inspiring. He knew more about the emperor than Longchen. Originally, with the cultivation and strength of dragon dust, it was not enough to disturb the Ming emperor in nirvana, but the causality between dragon dust and the Ming emperor is a little more. His beauty is the daughter of the emperor of the underworld, which was forcibly erased by the dragon dust. The emperor of the underworld was the son of the emperor of the underworld, who almost killed him by the dragon dust and had to sacrifice himself. The old man sweeping the floor slowly said, Such two causes and effects are unlikely to attract the attention of the emperor of the underworld in nirvana. The hall lord was very humane. His cause and effect are more than these two. Dragon dust, did you make a friend in the underworld? The old man sweeping the floor said. Longchen was stunned. For the first time he thought of Leng Yueyan and Ming Zongyue, but later, a figure suddenly appeared in his mind. You mean Brother Wu Tian? Longchen's heart jumped. Did he say, What's his origin? Said the old man sweeping the floor. I only know that his body is a three-way swallowing beast, the royal family of the Ming family. Wait, the royal family of the Ming family, the Ming emperor. Longchen's face changed greatly. If Brother Wu Tian is the descendant of the Ming emperor, will they have a battle in the future? Thinking of Wu Tian's boundless righteousness to him and treating him like his own brothers, Longchen's heart was confused at the thought of this possibility. Seeing that Longchen's face changed greatly, the old man shook his head and said, You don't have to worry. The three lynx swallow the sky beast is indeed a royal family in the underworld, but there is not only one royal family in the underworld. The Pluto Emperor in Nirvana is a mortal enemy of the three lynx swallowing beasts. The Pluto Emperor, who was also now, colluded with the Yozu and subverted the throne of the three lynx swallowing beasts by despicable means. In short, he planned to join the court. Your friendship with Wu Tian will naturally taint his cause and effect. Therefore, it is easy to attract the attention of Emperor Ming. Hearing that Emperor Ming and Wu Tian are enemies, Longchen suddenly put down his hanging heart. In his mind, Wu Tian is as kind to him as his eldest brother. They talk about everything and hate to meet each other late. If he meets Wu Tian's sword soldiers, Longchen will be very sad. However, the Emperor Ming is in nirvana. If he had to, he would not use his mind to pass down the decree. That would be very unfavorable to him. Is it really worth it? The Hall Lord didn't understand. You should know who killed the Emperor of the Underworld and then he fell into nirvana. The old man sweeping the floor said. The Lord of the Hall opened his mouth, looked at Longchen with a shocked face, and suddenly thought of something. The old man continued, Dragon dust, you don't have to worry that the Emperor will deal with you personally, but you should be careful of the sky light of the dragon. Watch him? Yes, he is likely to return with the will of the Emperor of the Underworld and show up as a real son of the Emperor of the Underworld. At that time, he was not the Emperor of the Underworld. You should be prepared and don't be careless. The old man sweeping the floor said. Longchen smiled and said, As long as the Emperor Ming doesn't come in person, I'm not afraid. Next time I meet him, I'll screw his head off and let him pay for betraying the dragon family. When he heard that the Emperor Ming and Wu Tian were not together, Longchen completely regained his confidence. As for others, he was never afraid. What about the power of the emperor? He has the mysterious golden lotus seed given to him by Aunt Gong. He can resist the power of the Emperor Ming. At that time, he will fight with his true skills. Long Chen is not afraid of anyone. Good job. I like your attitude. Seeing that Long Chen was full of confidence, he threatened to kill the dark dragon Tianzhao and clean up the rebellion of the dragon family. This tone made the Lord of the Hall particularly like it. He patted Long Chen on the shoulder and expressed his appreciation. The old sweeper continued, in addition, to tell you one thing, Minglong Tianzhao is not the first person to awaken the destiny. I understand. Long Chen nodded. The old man who swept the floor was slightly moved. Do you know? Long Chen said with a smile, I guess, but I think it should be 8, 9 and 10. You surprised me a little, the old man smiled. Long Chen said with a smile. It's very simple. My confidants didn't show up, especially the guy who likes to join the fun. I knew that Minglong Tianzhao was definitely not the first person to awaken the destiny. The reason why the Dark Dragon family spread the news at the first time after the Dark Dragon Tianzhao awakened the destiny is actually a sign of self-confidence. They are in order to win over more quasi-destiny people to strengthen the Ming Dragon family, and those really arrogant races disdain to win over foreigners. The reason why the Dark Dragon family advertised it in a big way is to make their weakness public. That is, there are too few quasi-destiny people of the Dark Dragon family, so they need to win over the quasi-destiny people of other families. If the Pluto Dragon family has thousands of quasi-destiny people, they will certainly not release the news, but help more people awaken their destiny through the efforts of the Pluto Dragon Tianzhao. The old man nodded and said, It's really good. It's rare that you have such wisdom at such a young age. Dragon Dust said, Actually, it's nothing. Now people with real strength have not surfaced. Only those who are dissatisfied with one bottle and half a bottle will come out and jump like a clown. My friends didn't arrive at the battle with the Ming Dragon Tianzhao. Obviously, they were at a critical moment, so they didn't arrive. It's nothing if 1 or 2 didn't come, but none came, which shows the problem. It also means that countless real Tianjiao are closed. The calculation of the Terran is really terrible. I didn't expect so much. The Hall Lord spread his hand. By the way, Long Chen, what can I do for you? The Lord suddenly asked. It has to be said that although the cultivation of the Lord of the Temple is high, his EQ is not very good. If Long Chen has any secret, he needs to talk to the master of the clean house alone. Isn't it embarrassing to ask? Dragon Dustjungsa Road. The dean is not here, so I have to ask the master of Jinyuan for instructions. I want to take the Zunlingji. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4455, Since You Want to Go. Hearing that the dragon dust was going to attack the Xianling world, the old man who swept the floor smiled as if he had expected. However, it's not safe to rely on the strength of my dragon blood core alone. I need the support of the academy. Long Chen was embarrassed. It's easy to say, it'll just help you. Before the old man sweeping the floor spoke, the Lord quickly patted his chest. The old man sweeping the floor glanced at the Hall Lord. The Hall Lord immediately dared not look at the old man sweeping the floor. He deliberately filled his words, so the old man sweeping the floor could not refuse him. The old man slowly stood up and took the broom in his hand. They hurried to stand up. Sha sha. The old man continued to sweep the floor. While sweeping, he said, There are always endless obstacles in the world. After sweeping, they appear again. Hey, there's no way. Listening to the old man sweeping the floor talking to himself, the Lord of the Temple looked confused. He didn't know whether he annoyed the master of the clean house. He couldn't tell whether he agreed or disagreed. Thank you, Master Jinyuan. Long Chen was overjoyed after hearing this. He saluted the old man with the Lord of the Temple and left. After leaving, the Lord of the Temple couldn't help asking, What did you mean by what you just said? Long Chen said with a smile, It means that the garbage in the world can't be cleaned up. If one batch is cleaned up, another batch will breed. Isn't that useless? What the master of the pure courtyard means is that he doesn't agree with your actions. Don't let us waste our efforts? The lord of the temple couldn't help but say, No, 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 your understanding is wrong. Since the dust is endless and goes round and round, why should the master of the clean house clean the academy every day? Longchen asked. This. The lord of the temple was stunned and didn't know how to answer for a while. There are countless garbage and endless obstacles. There is no way, but there are always people who need to sweep the floor in this world. It seems useless, but as long as the sweeper is there, the world can keep relatively clean. The clean house master's broom purifies the academy, as well as the people's heart and soul. I don't have such a profound realm. What I can do is to eliminate violence. Therefore, the master of the clean house sweeps the floor, which means that we can do what we should do without much explanation. Longchen laughs. They'll go. It can be done in a simple word. Why is it so complicated? The Hall Lord was speechless for a while. This is the difference between the dragon race and the human race, or the difference between the human race and other races. How to beat around the bush, the intention is to let people guess, which is unpleasant. The Lord of the Temple has a noble status. Whoever talks to him is straightforward. If anyone dares to talk to him like this, he will turn his face on the spot, but he has no way to face the master of the clean house. Master Jinjiwan's words have profound artistic conception and coincide with the way of heaven. They have many meanings. His words can be applied to people's life, martial arts practice, and the measurement of 10,000 dharmas and 10,000 ways. If you understand them, you can use them infinitely. Unfortunately, I'm so stupid that I can only understand the surface meaning. Hey, anyway, it's a good thing if he agrees. Longchen said with a smile. Your Terran is too complicated. It's better for our dragon family to reduce 10 meetings with one force. What you don't understand is nonsense in front of absolute power. The Lord of the Temple shook his head. I agree with that. Longchen nodded. Compared with the dragon's way of practice, the human's way is too recurrent, too cumbersome, and too profound. The most sad thing is that the more profound the truth is, the more unclear it is. The dragon clan is different. All magical powers are handed down by their ancestors. Just follow them. Terrans are different. Blood can be inherited, but magic can't be inherited. We must practice hard and have an epiphany. Both are indispensable. If the blood and understanding are slightly poor, they can't inherit the skills of their ancestors. If people are a little lazy, they will be completely finished. Therefore, the inheritance of Terrans is countless times more difficult than that of other races. However, the inheritance of Terrans also has its own advantages, that is, many techniques can be inherited through secret scripts. Moreover, the requirements for blood are not high, and even some magical powers can be used between different blood vessels. Even if some techniques are dated, but the script is still there, future generations will have the opportunity to continue, which cannot be replaced by other blood inheritance. In short, existence is reasonable. No matter any race can survive hundreds of millions of years of ups and downs. It has amazing vitality, otherwise it would have been wiped out in the long river of years. The dragon has the advantages of the dragon and the Terran has the advantages of the Terran. There is no comparison between the advantages and disadvantages. Are you ready? When the Lord of the Hall and Longchen came to the Dragon Blood Corps, they found that more than 5,000 Dragon Blood soldiers had assembled, and millions of Earth Spirit troops were ready under the leadership of Yi Ling. What shocked the Lord of the Temple most was that Yi Shui stood beside Yi Ling. At this time, her divine light flowed around her, and the runes of heaven surged around her, as if worshipping her. She had awakened her destiny and became a real destiny from a quasi-destiny. No wonder you are going to attack the Xianling world so soon. You already have a destiny. The Hall Lord was very humane. Yi Ling said, in fact, we are in a hurry to attack the Xianling world, but President Longchen said that the sooner the better, so as not to have a long dream. Longchen also nodded and said, it is imperative to help the Earth Spirit family recapture the Xianling world. Moreover, I believe that the guys in the Xianling world also know that we will start to prepare for them. We are well prepared and they are well prepared. It's better to strike while the iron is hot and directly enter the Xianling world while the after-temperature of killing the nether dragon Tianzhao hasn't disappeared. However, according to leader Yi Ling, there were 2 saints in the Xianling world, and a saint was colluded with outside to drive the Earth Spirit family out of the Xianling world. We have to face at least 3 saints when we attack the Xianling world to recover the lost land. Therefore, to be safe, we have to ask the Lord of the Temple for your help. 3 saints? They can finally move their muscles and bones. As soon as he heard that there were 3 saints, the Lord's eyes lit up and said in his heart, "Don't worry, the Holy One is on me." The Lord patted his chest. Hearing what the Lord of the Temple said, Yi Ling and other strong people of the Earth Spirit family were ecstatic. With the support of the Lord of the Temple, everything would be much easier. The hatred of the Earth Spirit family can finally be paid with blood. Let's go. With the order of Dragon Dust, millions of troops rushed out of Lingshao Academy and rushed to the Xianling world. This time, the Dragon Dust didn't hide his whereabouts, but just swaggered to the Xianling world. When he saw the Dragon Blood Legion set out, countless strong people were surprised and informed their respective forces one after another. Here we are. When they came to the gate of the Xianling world, the faces of the strong people of the Earth Spirit family changed, because the gate of the Xianling world was sealed by the boundary. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4456. When they knew we were coming, they closed the Xianling world first. They made use of the power of the Xianling world to forge a barrier. Unless it is opened from the inside, even if the 4 saints attack at the same time, they can't destroy the enchantment. When you see the enchantment on the door of space, Yi Ling's face changes. Not only Yi Ling's face has changed, but the faces of all the strong people of the Earth Spirit family have changed. If you want to forcibly open the boundary from the outside, it is equivalent to resisting the law of the whole Xianling world, which can't be done at all. Xiachen, what do you say? Longchen looked at Xiachen. At this time, Xiachen had carefully observed the border, and he smiled and said, "The boundary of the framework is simple and crude, without technology. It's a piece of cake for me." After Xiachen finished, he began to take out the array plate. Guoran hurriedly followed him. Soon, thousands of array plates were arranged. These arrays are arranged around the border and arranged in a certain order. They seem to be messy, but they contain mystery. An hour later, on the array plate, runes began to light up and then rhythmic rhythm began to appear. These rhythms scoured the boundary like tides. Soon, there were rhythms on the boundary. At the beginning, the rhythm of the boundary was different from that of the array. But after a while, there was a resonance phenomenon, and the 2 rhythms gradually merged into one. Buzzing, buzzing. The boundary roared, began to vibrate, and gradually emerged the phenomenon of distortion. The Terran's array is really powerful. It's amazing to use external objects and external forces to control thousands of times more power than yourself. The Lord of the Temple sighed that although he didn't understand the array, he could see that Xiachen used those array plates to evolve the laws of Minghao heaven to impact the boundary. Xiachen's own strength is not strong, but he can shake the border where even the saints can only sigh with admiration through the array. He has to lament the wisdom of the human race. Seeing this scene, the strong men of the Earth Spirit family were also excited. Before, they had seen Xiachen's hand, the talisman and seal characters were all over the sky, killing the quasi-destiny one after another. But unexpectedly, Xiachen not only had strong combat power, but also opened this terrible border. For a time, they admired the Dragon Blood Legion more. Suddenly, Xiachen made a big move and thousands of array plates were taken back by him. They were stunned. What's the situation? The boundary has not been broken yet? At this time, tides surged above boundary, runes flowed and shook constantly, but there was no sign of the breaking. "Boss, what do you say?" Xiachen said. "Keep the array, open a hole, and catch a turtle in a jar." Longchen said. "Okay." Hearing this, Xiachen immediately took out more than a dozen new array plates and inlaid them on the constantly fluctuating boundary. Originally, Xiachen intended to break the border directly, which was relatively simple. However, in this way, if you want to destroy the enemy in one fell swoop, you need to spend a lot of manpower to guard the entrance. In order to preserve the barrier, Xiachen needs to use a clever array to quietly open a hole in the barrier and cannot destroy the barrier. At the same time, he also needs to change the way to unseal the barrier. To put it bluntly, the boundary was arranged by the people inside, which is equivalent to adding a lock to the gate. What Xiachen has to do is not only to open the door, but also to replace the original lock, so that their keys have no use. Buzz, an hour later, a vortex appeared on the huge boundary, that is, the entrance to the Xianling world, but this is a single entrance. Once you go in, you can't come out for the time being. It'll come first. As soon as the Lord of the Hall flashed, he directly entered the vortex and disappeared in an instant. However, when the Lord of the Hall entered, Long Chen stood still, and Yi Ling was stunned. Aren't we going in? We have to wait a while to get in. When Xiachen opened the door, the people inside couldn't have been unaware. They had already arranged a trap waiting for us. When the Lord of the Temple goes in, he will disturb their deployment and give us an environment for safe passage. However, it should take some time. Long Chen said. Buzzing. At this time, the border quickly lit up, trembled, and the violent pressure came through the border. Sure enough, a saint ambushed. Yi Ling's face changed greatly. She was very familiar with the smell. It was her old enemy. To her horror, in addition to the two old enemies, there were two saints, and the smell was very strange. In other words, as soon as the Lord of the Temple entered, he was jointly attacked by the four saints. At that moment, Yi Ling's heart suddenly mentioned to his throat. Don't worry, Lord, the power of Lord is beyond our imagination. Long Chen said. For Lord, Long Chen has absolute confidence. Although the Lord is only an immortal strong man now, Long Chen always believes in his strength. The strength of some people cannot be evaluated by realm. The Lord of the Temple is like this, and so is Long Chen himself. The boundary was shaking violently and soon calmed down. At this time, Long Chen stopped drinking. Enter, who? The dragon dust opened the divine ring for the first time, and the golden dragon scales covered the whole body. At the same time, a flame lotus bloomed in his hand. When the dragon dust passed through the vortex, he didn't see it, and the fire lotus in his hand was pushed out. Explosion dragon dust passed through the barrier and detonated the flame lotus for the first time. With a startling colossus, the flame exploded, forming a rolling torrent and rushing in all directions. In the flame rolling, Long Chen saw countless figures and countless weapons, which were shocked by the flame lotus, and countless roars came from his ears. As Long Chen expected, although the Lord of the Temple killed him, there were still countless strong people guarding the entrance to give him a fatal blow, and Long Chen struck first. No matter whether there was an attack or not, he put a big move first to ensure his safety. As a result, his move was released without any sign. Other people's big move was still accumulating strength. It was directly interrupted by dragon dust and flew out in an instant. In the rolling flame, Long Chen felt tens of thousands of terrible breath. Long Chen was surprised. In addition to the 5 saints, there were 7 Destiny Awakeners and tens of thousands of quasi-Destiny people. Dead? At this time a roar came. The dragon dust had not seen the enemy. The sharp wind broke through the sky and rushed to the dragon dust. Boom, dragon dust broke his drink, the stars on his fist circulated, and a fist hit the attack with a loud bang. The attack was shattered by dragon dust's fist. What Long Chen didn't expect was that a wooden spike attacked Long Chen, which surprised Long Chen, wooden cultivator. Who? At the moment when Long Chen smashed the wooden destiny attack with one punch, several vines, like a strange python out of the hole, wrapped around Long Chen's thigh silently. The vine's attack was silent. When all Long Chen's attention was attracted by the wooden thorn, it successfully wrapped around Long Chen's thigh. Bad, dragon dust was shocked. Before he could react, the vine was pulled violently. Dragon dust instinctively wanted to break it, but he didn't expect that the vine was extremely tough, weak, and unable to break free. Boom! At this time, a warhammer flew down into the air and hit the dragon dust. It turned out to be another terrible destiny. The most terrible thing is that the cooperation between them is perfect. At the moment when the giant hammer was about to fall, a sword chi suddenly cut off the vines under Long Chen's feet. It was Yu Zifeng who killed him. Long Chen was overjoyed. After he was free, Long Chen broke his drink and smashed the huge hammer with a bronze tripod. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4457. Dragon Dust was surprised when he hit before, but unexpectedly, the strong ones of the other party also made a good deployment and cooperated with each other very skillfully. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Yu Zifeng came to help Long Chen solve the siege, otherwise he would be entangled by the vine and unable to exert himself, and Long Chen would suffer a great loss. At this time, he got rid of the vine entanglement. Long Chen held the heaven and earth tripod and slammed it against the warhammer. What Long Chen was most afraid of was this kind of solid attack. Boom! When the heaven and earth tripod collided with the hammer, it exploded and the hammer turned into powder. It was a terrible holy soldier, but it was not enough to see in front of the heaven and earth tripod. The warhammer smashed a huge creature. A mouthful of blood gushed wildly. The body was pierced by the fragments of the warhammer and almost hit into a sieve. Poof! At this time, a golden saber fell into the air, and a knife cut on the creature's head, directly splitting the creature's head. Guoran is here, who dares to fight? The knife was cut out by Guoran. He was very lucky. As soon as he rushed in, he caught up with a wave of welfare. Just as the Destiny was seriously injured by the heaven and earth ding, he was cut to pieces by Guoran's knife and killed perfectly. After killing the Destiny, the bloody rain fell on the sky, and the sky wept blood again. Boom boom. Just then, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Xia Chen, Bai Xiaola, Bai Shishir, Yu Qingxian, Yi Ling, Yi Shui and the Dragon Blood Corps all rushed in. As soon as Gu Yang and others rushed in, their eyes turned red. They roared and killed those Destiny. This time, they finally had a chance to fight the Destiny. No one would let go of the opportunity. After Guoran killed a Destiny, he was also knowledgeable. Instead of competing for opportunities with others, he led the Dragon Blood soldiers to kill other strong men. One of the 7 quasi-heavenly beings was killed by Guoran, and the other 6 were surrounded by Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Yu Zifeng, Xia Chen, Bai Shishir, Bai Xiaola and Yu Qingxian. When there were more wolves and less meat, except for Yu Qingxian, who was responsible for pressing the array and tentatively helping, the others were breaking out madly. After all, it's Destiny. The strongest Tianjiao in the world can defeat them, which is an affirmation of himself. Yu Zifeng, alone, fought the monster covered with vines. His sword Qi soared to the sky, and the terrible vines came everywhere. However, in front of Yu Zifeng's sword Qi, he was cut off like chopping melons and vegetables, forcing the monster to retreat again and again. Bai Shishir is in full bloom. In the vision behind him, the goddess statue emits endless divine light. The long golden sword in his hand cuts through the heaven and earth and changes the wind and cloud. Bai Shishir is extremely strong and fierce. When he makes a move, it is all big moves. The moves are fatal, desperate and extremely cruel. He will fight a Destiny alone without losing the wind. On the other side, Bai Xiaola and Zaitong's 9-tailed demon fox are combined. Zaitong's 9-tailed demon fox shows its body. 9 tails tremble and claws crack the sky, forcing a Destiny to roar repeatedly, showing its terrible combat power. At this time, the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox shows the real face of the wild and fierce beast. It is frightening and murderous. Gu Yang fought alone. Li Qi and Song Mingyuan fought a Destiny together. With their cooperation, the earth giant broke out. The one who killed that Destiny had only the power of parry and no power to fight back. Xia Chen's hands are continuously sealed, and the Taoist symbols and seal characters are flying against a Destiny. Xia Chen's symbols and seal characters are inexhaustible. He is the most gorgeous and beautiful person in the battle. Each rune seal was as gorgeous as fireworks and turned into thousands of magical powers. The destiny opposite him roared repeatedly, but he couldn't break through the blockade of Rune Seal and was firmly trapped by Xiachen. When Long Chen saw that the Dragon Blood Legion arrived, he controlled the scene and did not continue to fight. At this time, the elite of the Earth Spirit family had also been killed and began to use the Dragon Blood Legion as a sharp knife throughout the whole battlefield. Yi Shui's whole body was full of divine light, and Dao Shenhui landed on the strong people of the Earth Spirit family. These strong people showed divine brilliance. The whole person seemed to have beaten chicken blood and had endless strength. At that moment, Long Chenkai realized that Yi Shui's ability was not aggressive, but auxiliary. She could distribute the power given to her by the way of heaven to her people, greatly improving the combat effectiveness of the people. The battlefield is extremely chaotic. There are endless powerful people around, as well as all kinds of creatures that have never been seen before. Some terrible tree demons emerge from the ground from time to sneak attacks and disrupt the rhythm of attack. However, the Dragon Blood Legion has experienced hundreds of battles. This small obstruction did not pay attention to it at all. It fought roundly and fiercely, killing the whole battlefield. Long Chen stood on the void and watched the whole battlefield. Although the enemy was powerful and the immortal strong were countless, everything was under control. Victory was sooner or later. At the beginning, Long Chen was worried that the people could not stop these destiny people, but soon Long Chen found that the strength gap between these destiny people and Minglong Tianzhao was very large. Dragon Dust doesn't know why. Why are there such a big gap between those who are the same destiny? Whether from their vision, breath, or power, they are obviously a grade worse than the Dark Dragon Tianzhao. Not only did Long Chen see it, but all the people who started with them also saw it. Just because they saw the gap, they attacked desperately. If they couldn't even deal with these people, how could they have the face to follow Long Chen? Dragon Dust, let's help the Lord. Yi Ling also participated in the fierce battle at the beginning, because she had just returned to the Xianling world. Her strength was gradually recovering from the immortal strong to the holy. Although she had not yet recovered to the peak state, she wanted to help the Hall Lord when she saw that the war situation here was stable. After all, the Lord of the Temple is an enemy of 5. If the Lord of the Temple has any accident, the war will end in failure, which everyone can't afford. Okay, Long Chen was also worried about the Lord of the Temple. Yi Ling once said that her opponent had 2 saints. Originally, she had the blessing of the spirit of the earth. She fought 1 against 2. She could only defend but not attack. The other party could not help her. Later, they invited a foreign aid. The 3 attacked together and broke her defense. The Earth Spirit clan was helpless and ran away. It is reasonable to say that there should be 3 saints in the Earth Spirit world, but unexpectedly, there were 2 more, which made Yi Ling Tun feel uneasy. After a slight recovery, he immediately rushed to the distant battlefield with Dragon Dust. Boom boom. There was a roar in the distance. Where the Dragon Dust passed, the mountains were broken, the earth had been sunk, and there were ravine magma everywhere, an image of extinction. The sky and the earth were ruined, and the undercurrent surged. The Dragon Dust and Yi Ling chased along the traces and sounds. Soon, they saw 1 shadow covering the sky. Yi Ling was shocked and angry when he saw the person who did it, Evil Blood Tree Demon, WBW. Novelhold. Com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4458. On the void ahead, 2 towering trees emerged, and endless evil chi fell from the void, infecting the whole world. The 2 big trees are not entities, but visions. Blessings are behind the 2 old men. The 2 old men are holding green crutches and storming at the Hall Lord. When he saw the 2 old men, Yi Ling was shocked and angry. He was so angry that he trembled all over, as if he had seen the enemy who killed his father. They colluded with the Evil Blood Tree Demon, which is to completely destroy the foundation of our Earth Spirit family. No wonder I couldn't feel the blessing of my ancestors when I came back. Yi Ling gnashed her teeth, and Long Chen saw her so angry for the first time. It turns out that Evil Blood Tree Demons belong to a kind of creatures that are extremely annoying to all spirits. They are evil in nature and like to destroy. In particular, They like to turn the sacred land into a dirty land and turn the sacred power into dirty fertilizer, so as to nourish their own body. Their appearance gave Yi Ling a bad feeling. The ancestral land of the Earth Spirit family has the blessing of its ancestors, which is difficult to destroy. Even if it is lost for a while, it is not afraid. But the evil blood tree demon can destroy the foundation of the Earth Spirit clan's ancestral land, which the Earth Spirit clan can't bear. So when he saw the two evil blood tree demons, Yi Ling Tun was angry. Boom boom. In addition to the two evil blood tree demons, there are 3 terrorist saints and 5 masters besieging the Lord of the Hall at the same time. The dragon vision behind the Lord of the Hall opened, the dragon claws cracked the sky, and the feet jumped thousands of ways. With one punch and one foot, the power of endless dragon blood gathered. One enemy was 5, but it didn't lose the wind at all. At this time, the Lord of the Temple finally showed his terror. In the vision behind him, the Manlong kept turning and dancing, the heaven and earth trembled, and there seemed to be endless strength to kill with the 5 immortal strong men. Hoo-hoo! The 2 tree demons trembled, and black liquid shot out continuously and sprayed into the vision of the Hall Lord. The vision light of the Hall Lord stirred and blocked the black liquid, but the dragon dust found that the liquid was horribly corrosive, and there were black spots around the vision of the Hall Lord. Even visions can corrode? Longchen was surprised. That's the unique magic power of the evil blood tree demon. It's extremely disgusting and can corrode all the energy in the world, whether tangible or intangible. Yilingdao, go away. Suddenly, the Lord of the Temple roared, smashed the sky with one fist, got rid of the entanglement of others, and smashed the evil blood tree demon with one fist. The Lord of the Temple was also very angry. The magical powers of these evil blood tree demons were too disgusting and constantly corroded his vision, which would weaken the blessing of the vision on him and affect his combat effectiveness. This was less than an incense stick. Countless spots were corroded on the edge of his vision, and his strength was obviously weakened. At this time, he could only use 90% of his strength in his heyday. At this time, he was a little regretful. He should have killed these 2 hateful guys as soon as he came in. As long as these 2 guys died, he could kill other saints with his real ability. Buzz, when the Lord of the Temple punched out, the saint of the evil blood tree demon family suddenly sealed his hands and formed sewage shields in front of him. 18 shields were condensed in one breath. Boom boom. 18 shields were smashed in an instant. The sewage was mixed with dead branches and rotten leaves. The smell was disgusting. The sewage burst, and the whole sky was corroded into thick smoke. The saint of the evil blood tree demon family was shocked by the Lord's fist, but he was safe with a shield. The barbarian dragon family is just like this. Today, the saint will corrode you into a pile of dead bones. The saint will take your flesh and blood. Ha! The saint of the evil blood tree demon family laughed and was extremely arrogant. Dragon dust, what should I do? The evil blood tree demon restrained my strength. We only had one chance to sneak attack. Yi Lingchao said anxiously to Dragon Dust. Yi Ling belongs to the spirit family and also belongs to the pure breath. If she is eroded by the original power of the evil blood tree demon, her power will decline faster. The Lord of the Temple belongs to the dark man-dragon. He has a dark smell, but he is still corroded, and Yi Ling is restrained to death. Now she has just recovered the spirit of the saint and has not reached the peak. If it is corroded, the realm will immediately fall to the saint. Therefore, she has only one chance to make a move. Long Chen understood Yi Ling's meaning. The 2 saints of the evil blood tree demon family were the most disgusting and could not be used by the Hall Lord. Otherwise, even if one was against 5, the Hall Lord could still beat them all over the ground. I don't need your help. You help me fight. If I can't hold it, remember to save me. Long Chen said. You. Yi Ling was shocked. She didn't know what Dragon Dust was going to do. At this time, Kunpeng wings appeared behind Dragon Dust. People had rushed out and rushed to one of the saints of evil blood tree demon family. Buzz, when the Dragon Dust rushed into the battlefield, a terrible pressure swept the whole body of the Dragon Dust. At that moment, the Dragon Dust was almost shocked by the terrible force. It was the aura of the saint, not the saint, and he had no ability to rush in. The moment when the dragon dust impacted in, it was like a mortal falling into the water from a high place. The huge impact almost broke the bones of the dragon dust. At this time, Long Chen realized how terrible the saint was. There was a dimensional gap between himself and the saint. 7-star battle, open. At this time, Long Chen didn't care to hide his body and directly opened the 7-star battle body. If he didn't go all out, it would be difficult in such a battlefield and the sneak attack plan would fail instantly. Where's the mole ant? Get out. When the dragon dust came, the saint of the evil blood tree demon family was concentrating on dealing with the lord of the temple. He really didn't notice the arrival of the dragon dust, but the moment when the dragon dust summoned the 7-star battle body immediately attracted his attention. A wooden spear stabbed the dragon dust like lightning. The violent killing intention locked the dragon dust in an instant. Hiss, dragon dust broke his drink, and a colorful sword came out and hit the wooden thorn. With a bang, dragon dust's 7-Ju sword burst to pieces. In front of the wooden thorn, the 7-Ju sword was even vulnerable. However, all this was expected by Long Chen. When he stepped into the battlefield, he learned the gap between himself and the saint, and did not dare to arrogantly think that he could resist the attack of the saint. However, the wooden spike deviated at the moment when the 7-Ju sword hit, flew past Long Chen and stabbed an empty hole. The Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family was surprised. It was obvious that dragon dust could avoid his blow. The most important thing is that the blow has locked Long Chen, and the timing and angle of Long Chen's shot are flawless, which made his lock temporarily invalid, and avoided his blow at the moment of failure. At the moment of his surprise, Long Chen suddenly moved, and the Kunpeng's wings glowed behind him. His body was as fast as lightning, and he had rushed to the old man. Dragon dust kicked the old man in the face. Boy, die! The saint of the evil blood tree demon family was angry. His fingers were like hooks, flashing cold light, and grabbed at the ankle of Long Chen. But what the saint of the evil blood tree demon family didn't expect was that the foot of Long Chen was a false move. When his big hand failed, one big hand slapped him on the face from an unexpected angle. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4459, Pa. With a bang, the dragon dust clapped firmly on the face of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family. At that moment, the Yi Ling who was on guard in the distance was stunned. The moment Long Chen avoided the wooden thorn, he even changed 7 body methods. His figure was all over the sky. People were dazzled and couldn't judge his route. But what Yi Ling couldn't understand was that the dragon dust was so hard to get close to the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family to slap him in the face. Boom! But then a scene that shocked her appeared. At the moment when Long Chen clapped his big hand on the face of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family, endless black soil poured out of Long Chen's hand and buried the saint of the evil blood tree demon family in an instant. The saint of the evil blood tree demon family suddenly burst into a shrill scream. The black soil invaded his body, just like boiling water poured on a snowdrift, and his body was corroded into big holes. Boom! The Holy One of the evil blood tree demon clan roared and exploded, bouncing the endless black earth away, and a figure was shot like a meteor. The black earth was shaken open, but the whole face of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family had collapsed, and only half of his head was left. It looked as ferocious as a ghost. As he bounced off the black soil, the endless black soil diffused and blocked everyone's sight. The saint of the evil blood tree demon family next to him was surprised to see his companion like this. What are you looking at? Pa. At this time, another saint of the evil blood tree demon family had a wind behind his head, and a big hand slapped him on the back of his head. Bang! With a bang, endless black soil poured out, drowning the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family. The person who took the shot was Dragon Dust. After he succeeded in the first blow, he knew that guy would bounce off these black soil. The Dragon Dust condensed a fake body and deliberately let the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family play and fly, so that others mistakenly thought that he was no longer in the battlefield. However, while everyone's attention was focused on the saint of the evil blood tree demon family, he quietly touched the back of another saint of the evil blood tree demon family under the cover of the dark earth and slapped it down. Dead, the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family roared. At the moment of being attacked, a flash of lightning flashed across the wooden staff in his hand and pulled fiercely behind him. When, with a bang, the wooden staff was drawn on a bronze tripod, and the wooden staff was broken. The whole arm of the evil blood tree demon was broken, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. The counterattack of the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family was predicted by Long Chen. He had already held the heaven and earth tripod waiting for him to take the bait. But what Long Chen didn't expect was that the attack of the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family was too terrible. Although the heaven and earth tripod resisted 80% or 90% of the power, the remaining power still shook his 5 internal organs, and his blood gushed wildly. Even people with the tripod were pumped out. Dead, at this time, the Lord of the Temple killed him and hit him with a fist. The saint of the evil blood tree demon family who had just been broken by the heaven and earth tripod was hit and exploded in the head by the Lord of the Temple. The sudden change came so fast that the 5 saints could not dream that a small world king boy broke the balance of the battlefield in an instant. At the moment when the Holy One of the evil blood tree demon family was shot out of his head, a divine light was emitted from his body, which was his soul and his original God. Even if the saint's body is broken, as long as the soul is not destroyed, the power of the original God can still not be underestimated. When the original God of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family rushes out of the body, he must integrate into the vision. In that way, he can continue to fight. But as soon as his Yuan God moved, a big mouth appeared and swallowed it. No! The Holy One of the evil blood tree demon clan shouted in horror and was swallowed up by a black dragon in his scream. The Lord of the Temple turned into a black man dragon and swallowed the original God of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family. At that moment, his breath suddenly soared. Dead, the Lord of the Temple roared, and the dragon claws covered the sky and rushed down. Another saint of the evil blood tree demon family wanted to escape, but he was shocked to find that he couldn't move. The other 3 saints were also frightened to find that when the Lord of the Temple swallowed the original God of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family, his breath soared and rushed directly to the half-step saint from the immortal realm. Poof! The head of the saint of the evil blood tree demon family was broken, and the Lord of the Hall opened his big mouth. Before the saint of the evil blood tree demon family flew out by himself, he directly sucked it with his big mouth and inhaled the saint of the evil blood tree demon family into his mouth. Boom! When the Lord of the Temple absorbed the original gods of the 2 evil blood tree demon saints, his body roared, his body was covered with scales and black gas, and his breath became more and more terrible. He seemed to have entered a certain transformation. When the other 3 saints saw this scene, their eyes showed panic. At this time, the Lord of the Temple was about to break through. They were invincible. They were not opponents at all. Escape! A saint shouted and ran away, but as soon as his figure moved, he was caught by a sharp claw. Boom! The saint's head was broken, the Yuan God was sucked out by violence, and his body was thrown out in an instant. The other 2 saints shouted in horror. They ran in 2 directions. The huge dragon body of the Hall Lord shook and disappeared in an instant. No! Please! Ah! Soon 2 screams came, and then the breath of the saint disappeared. At that moment, Long Chen held the heaven and earth tripod and the whole person was stunned. The Lord of the Temple can directly devour other people's Yuan gods to improve? What kind of ability is this? Dragon dust, I'm about to break through. I need to go back to the academy immediately. I owe you another favor this time. The voice of the Hall Lord came. Boom! Then a loud noise came from the entrance of the Xianling world. When Long Chen and Yi Ling rushed back to the entrance, they found that the closed entrance had been broken down and the Hall Lord had left. Yi Ling looked frightened. The entrance was the power framework of the mysterious spirit world. Even if more than a dozen saints joined hands, they could not be destroyed. The lord of the temple pierced with a blow. How strong was the lord of the temple at this time? Now the breath of the 5 saints has disappeared, and the 7 fates have fallen to the 5th. Countless quasi-fates died on the spot. The strong in the Xianling world collapsed in a moment. Seeing that the entrance had been opened, they rushed out desperately and wanted to escape. Puff puff. Guoran had already expected that they would escape, and had already arranged a kill formation. Those foreign strong men who rushed in, like moths to the fire, died as much as they came. Seeing that they couldn't rush out, countless creatures began to kneel down and beg for mercy. Seeing them crying for mercy, the strong men of the Spirit Clan roared. When you slaughtered our earthling compatriots, you gave them a chance to beg for mercy. The blood debt must be paid by blood. Go to hell. The strong here are the elites of the Earth Spirit family. They have witnessed their loved ones die around them. They can't forget the eyes of those loved ones before they die. Now they have only hatred and no mercy. They roar, and wave butcher knives. Only blood debt and blood compensation can eliminate hatred. The battle continued, but Long Chen had no intention to see it. He began to clean the booty. Oh my God, the body of the Holy One. It's fun. When he came to the battlefield of the Holy One, Long Chen's heart was excited at once. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4460. There were countless bodies in the last Tianxia State War, but Xia Chen and Guoran had to repair the armor and magic soldiers of the Dragon Blood soldiers on the one hand, and prepare for the Xianling world on the other hand. They didn't have much time to deal with those bodies. So, up to now, those bodies have not been processed, and they have been left in Xia Chen and Guoran's hands. Now, another world war has begun. Long Chen has directly obtained the bodies of 5 saints. Long Chen carefully collects these bodies, but does not dare to throw them directly into the black soil. He is afraid that Xia Chen and Guoran will bite him to death. The corpse of the immortal strong is regarded as priceless by both of them. The corpse of the Holy One can definitely make them crazy. Especially Xia Chen, the saint's blood essence may even let him study the saint-level seal characters and imitate the saint's strike. Dragon dust collected the body of the saint first. After all, dragon dust was relieved only when it was collected into chaotic space. At this time, the war is coming to an end. The Dragon Blood Legion is responsible for blocking the door. Other strong people of the Earth Spirit Clan follow Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan and others to start chasing and killing the escaped fish. However, it will take some time to find the missing fish, but they are not in a hurry. Xia Chen has started the large array and began to repair the barrier. Once the barrier is completed, the Xianling world will be isolated from Ming Haotian again. This battle does not need so many experts. Long Chen, Yu Qingxian and Bai Shishir have rushed to the ancestral land of the Earth Spirit family with Yi Ling and Yi Shui. When I saw the picturesque mountains and rivers turned into ruins, sewage flowed everywhere, the bodies of countless birds and animals were floating in the sewage, and the smell came. Yi Ling and Yi Shui were so distressed that tears came out. Like the Spirit Clan, the Earth Spirit Clan will build a beautiful home wherever they go. They love cleanliness by nature. The back mountain of Lingshao Academy is soon transformed into a fairyland on Earth by them. And here, the place where the Earth Spirit family has lived and multiplied for countless years, suddenly became like this. Even outsiders such as Long Chen felt angry. All this was done by evil blood tree demons, and only they have the ability to infect a place so quickly and turn a vibrant place into a place of death. Yi Ling and Yi Shui walked forward with tears. Soon there was a high mountain ahead. On the high mountain, there was a big tree. The tree was not very high, but the canopy covered a huge area, just like a huge mushroom, covering the whole mountain. This tree is bigger than any tree that Dragon Dust has ever seen, almost comparable to a state, but this huge tree has withered and yellow leaves and lack of vitality, as if it would die at any time. When they saw this big tree, Yi Ling and Yi Shui burst into tears. This is their holy tree of the Earth Spirit family, which gathers the power of the belief of the Earth Spirit family. Because of the protection of this holy tree, The Earth spirit family can resist the invasion of foreign enemies countless times, so that Yi Ling can still protect the people in the face of the attacks of the two saints. Last time, the two old enemies colluded with foreign enemies, and the three saints attacked at the same time. Although there is the shelter of the holy tree, it can ensure the safety of the local spirit family for a time. But that will consume the original power of the holy tree. When the original power of the holy tree is exhausted, the holy tree will die and the spirit clan will be slaughtered. Therefore, Yi Ling made a quick decision and rushed out of the Xianling world with his people. The holy tree can save precious physical strength without protecting them. The three saints can't take it for the time being. This is a perfect way, but Yi Ling didn't expect that they colluded with the evil blood tree demon to pollute the holy land and destroy the origin of the holy tree. Fortunately, they came back early. If they came back a few days late, not only the holy land would be destroyed, but also the holy tree would die. When Yi Ling and Yi Shui came back, there was a divine glow hanging from the holy tree, like a jade hand touching their cheeks, as if comforting them. In this way, Yi Ling and Yi Shui cried even more. Yi Shui suddenly sealed her hands, and her eyebrows glowed. The breath belonging to the destiny broke out. She wanted to use her original power to heal the holy tree. Suddenly, two divine lights fell, Yi Shui's hands were separated, and her movements were interrupted by the holy tree. It's no use. The origin of the holy tree has been eroded. We're still late. Yi Ling sobbed helplessly. Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian saw their eyes red, and they also felt very sad. The evil blood tree demon was so hateful. How could there be such disgusting creatures in the world? Dragon Dust, what are you doing? Suddenly Bai Shishir found that Long Chen had gone away alone. He ran to the back of the mountain. There was a deep pit, in which black liquid kept coming out. Healing, Dragon Dust smiled and said, the white flame on one hand flowed, and the other hand went into the black pit. Kaka kaka. The black water in the black pit was ignited in an instant. When it was ignited, it was also freezing. Then huge ice blocks flew out of the pit. Seeing this scene, Yi Ling and Yi Shui were surprised and happy. They were already flustered at this time, and Long Chen said that they could cure the holy tree. They immediately saw hope. Yi Shui wants to heal the holy tree, but she is stopped by the holy tree. The holy tree doesn't want her to waste her efforts. Yi Shui is a destiny, but she believes that what she can't do doesn't mean that Long Chen can't do it. She has absolute confidence in Long Chen. Since Long Chen took away her holy light, she sent her snow lotus pill, which directly made her awaken the destiny. She had a firm trust in Long Chen. Boom! Suddenly, there was a roar under the pit, as if something was roaring. At that moment, Yi Ling shouted, "Damn, it's the holy seal of the evil blood tree demon." When Long Chen frozen all the black water in the black pit into ice and threw it out, he found that tens of thousands of miles of deep pit was the main root of the holy tree. On the main root, a black pattern is painted. The pattern emits an evil smell and is corroding the main root of the holy tree. The black water forms a rotten liquid after it corrodes the main root. When seeing that pattern, the dragon dust also changed his face. This is a seal, such as bone maggots. If forcibly destroyed, it will destroy the original power of the holy tree and even cause the death of the holy tree. Fortunately, the dragon blood core and Xia Chen are here. At this time, Xia Chen is busy with the entrance seal and cannot be urgently transferred. After reading the seal, Xia Chen used several methods to finally untie the seal. At that moment, countless strong people of the Earth Spirit family had gathered around. They were so excited that they shouted and saluted Xia Chen. Xia Chen was like a god in their hearts, which made Xia Chen very proud. When the seal was lifted, the dragon dust sealed his hands, the void behind him cracked, the power of thick soil erupted, and the dust with strong chaotic gas flowed into the pit. Buzz, when the magical dust fell into the pit, the body of the holy tree trembled suddenly, and then a scene that shocked the strong of the spirit family appeared. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4461. The pit was filled with soil, and the withered holy tree suddenly trembled. Then the withered yellow leaves began to turn green slowly, flashing vitality. This, Yi Ling, Yi Shui and other strong people of the local spirit clan showed a shocked look, followed by tears of joy, and their holy tree was saved. This holy tree is the belief of the whole Earth spirit family. If the holy tree dies, they will become children who have lost their mother. That kind of grief can't be described in words. At this time, they look at Longchen and their eyes are full of gratitude. Even if they die for Longchen, they are willing. In their hearts, Longchen exists like God. Buzzing, buzzing. With the passage of time, the withered holy tree was rejuvenated again, the Taoist spirit light fell, and the black water on the ground began to be purified. All the dirt in the world slowly disappeared, the earth recovered its vitality, countless seeds germinated in the soil, tried to stick out their heads and enjoy the sunshine and rain. Originally, Longchen thought that there was a place of death around him. I'm afraid it would be impossible to recover here for tens of thousands of years. But Longchen didn't expect that countless seeds were hidden in the polluted land. Some vegetation fell into a dormant state in order to resist pollution, so that they could live for a long time. When the opportunity comes, they will take root and sprout again. The place of death, which was hundreds of millions of miles away, begins to glow with vitality under the glory of the holy tree. The fishy smell disappeared, replaced by the fragrance of flowers and plants, and human purgatory once again became a fairyland on earth. The transformation was only in a moment. The holy tree was like a great magician. If it wasn't seen with his own eyes, he couldn't believe it. Seeing this shocking scene, Longchen was filled with emotion. The seeds of life reminded him of the human race. The Terran has also experienced countless hardships. The so-called wildfire cannot burn out, and the spring wind blows again. When the disaster comes, the Terran chooses to sleep, and when the rain and dew come, it will grow rapidly. The tenacious vitality proclaims their unyielding and perseverance. No matter how many times of havoc, the Terran still lives tenaciously and silently struggles with fate. Watching those seeds take root and sprout gave Dragon Dust endless power and new inspiration. Dean Longchen, thank you for your gift. The spirits, will always feel your kindness. Suddenly, Yi Ling led the strong man of the spiritual family in the territory to bow down and salute to Longchen piously. Elder, it's impossible. It's just a matter of lifting a hand. Longchen stretched out his hand to pull leader Yi Ling. As a result, clan leader Yi Ling, after finishing the ceremony, slowly stood up and said, "The holy tree said, you are the savior of our spiritual family. Our spiritual family will always follow your steps until death." Yi Ling's face was solemn, and the words spirit family and earth spirit family were used in his words, but Longchen didn't notice this detail. "You're welcome. Without you, I wouldn't have gained so much. We are mutually beneficial." Longchen hurried. To tell the truth, Longchen is disgusted with this kind of kneeling ceremony. Except his parents, Longchen feels that no one can let others do this kind of big ceremony. If you really appreciate it, keep it in your heart. Some words and things are more meaningful than saying them. Dragon Dust is like this. He seldom thanks anyone who has helped him. When others need help, he will do his best. Even if he goes up the knife mountain and down the oil pan, he won't frown. Although Longchen knows that the spirit clan is simple, consistent in appearance and inside, and is a race that attaches great importance to etiquette, this etiquette will make Longchen a little uncomfortable. The holy tree is recovering quickly, and Xiachen has completed the repair at the entrance, and the enemy has almost cleaned up. Maybe there will be some fish that slip through the net and hide in the dark. However, Xiachen has begun to distribute the detection array disc to the strong of the Earth Spirit family, and will soon clean up all the remaining evils. For those remaining evils, naturally, the Dragon Blood Legion does not need to start. 4 weak creatures, the Dragon Blood Legion is not interested in killing them. However, it is different for the Spirit Clan. These creatures are their mortal enemies and must be cleaned up. Therefore, the cleaning work is handed over to the Spirit Clan. The Dragon Blood Corps has experienced 2 consecutive wars, both of which are high-intensity wars. They don't have much time to rest. Finally, they have time to adjust at ease. Before the Tianxia State War, they were greatly stimulated. Many people had reached the edge of breakthrough. However, in order not to affect the recovery war of the Xianling world, they suppressed their cultivation and did not break through. Now they are closed after everything. Only Xia Chen and Guoran didn't shut up. They found a wasteland in the Xianling world, poured out all the bodies and began to clean up the bodies. The dragon dust also helped. The bodies treated by Xia Chen and Guoran were collected into the chaotic space by the dragon dust and directly thrown into the black soil for decomposition. Before, dragon dust threw Wanlong's nest on the black soil, but found that these days have passed, and there is no sign that Wanlong's nest has been decomposed. The heaven and earth tripod told him that the black earth had magical power, but it was also growing. The more decomposed bodies, the greater its power. Now, with its power, to decompose the 10,000 dragon nest is equivalent to gnawing hard bones. If you have bad teeth, it will decompose slowly. It's better to decompose those easily decomposed bodies first. The more decomposed bodies, the stronger the black soil. After being reminded by the heaven and earth tripod, Long Chen suddenly realized it. At the same time, he secretly scolded himself for being stupid and didn't find this detail. In the past, it took a long time for the black earth to decompose the immortal king's body, but now it can melt instantly. Long Chen always thought that the strength of the black earth was related to his cultivation and the size of chaotic space. It turns out that this is not the case at all. The black soil runs independently. The more corpses it absorbs, the stronger it will be. The reminder of the heaven and earth tripod excited Long Chen. If the black earth is strong enough, you can directly kill a saint like the evil blood tree demon as long as you can let the black earth touch its body. Even if it doesn't die, I'm afraid it can be seriously injured. In that case, Long Chen has the ability to kill saints independently. Black soil has terrible lethality to the creatures of the plant system. If you encounter such a strong person in the future, don't you harvest the black soil in pieces? Thinking of this, Long Chen was full of energy. Together with Xia Chen and Guoran, they kept removing the crystal nucleus, internal alchemy and blood essence in the body and threw them into the chaotic space for the black earth to absorb. Throw it away. Long Chen suddenly found that the Tiandao tree in the core area of black soil was different. When he saw 7 shining fruits on the Tiandao tree, Long Chen's heart jumped wildly. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4462, Il Go, Destiny Fruit? When the dragon dust saw the 7 fruits shining with divine brilliance, at that moment, even his breathing stopped. Long Chen once killed the quasi-destiny person Minglong Tianai. At that time, Long Chen was full of expectation to see if there would be Tianming Tiandao fruit. However, to Long Chen's disappointment, Tiandao tree did not bear new fruit. Later, he fought with Minglong Tianzhao. Long Chen was determined to kill Minglong Tianzhao. He wanted to see if the Tiandao tree could go against the sky again and bear the fruit of destiny. But in that war, the dragon dust failed to kill the dark dragon Tianzhao, but countless quasi-destiny people died on the battlefield, but there was still no fluctuation in the Tiandao tree. At that moment, Long Chen thought that the 3 extremes were the limit of the Tiandao tree. The people to whom the destiny belongs could not be absorbed by the Tiandao tree. Later, Long Chen didn't think about it, but at this time, he inadvertently found that he almost made Long Chen jump up. It's against the sky. It's really against the sky. The dragon dust is roaring in his heart. The heavenly tree is so against the sky that it condenses the heavenly fruit, which means that the dragon dust can create the destiny. In other words, the dragon blood legion will become a destiny legion in the future. At that moment, the dragon dust is boiling with blood. Take down a Tiandao fruit and feel the power of Tiandao flowing in the Tiandao fruit. Long Chen suddenly feels thoughtful. No, the power of the way of heaven is somewhat different from the breath of those who are destined by heaven. Dragon dust noticed something strange. The breath of those heavenly beings disgusted him, but the breath of the fruit made him feel kind. Are the heavenly fruit transformed by the heavenly tree different from the former ones? Long Chen looked at the fate fruit and his eyes were full of doubts. This discovery made him puzzled. Dragon Dust suddenly found that there seemed to be a constant core in the endless heavenly runes in the heavenly fruit. And that stone, showing a 5-pointed star shape, although irregular, but it looks very mysterious. 1-star destiny fruit? Dragon Dust blurted out. At that moment, Longchen suddenly thought of the Ming Long Tianzhao, and a flash of lightning crossed his mind. He vaguely guessed why there was such a huge gap between these destiny people and the strength of the Ming Long Tianzhao. 1-star destiny means the weakest destiny, and the Dark Dragon Tianzhao is definitely not 1-star destiny. Long Chen is very confident. Although this is only his guess, he has a hunch that 8 out of 10 guesses are true. Hey, this is good. In this way, we can create our own Dragon Blood Destiny army. Long Chen smiled. With the power of Dragon Blood and Destiny, the Dragon Blood army will usher in earth-shaking changes. However, the Dragon Dust has not yet studied these fate fruits. It needs to be observed for a period of time and cannot be used rashly. If a Dragon Blood warrior can only take 1 destiny fruit, will his qualification be fixed on the 1-star destiny forever? If there is a stronger destiny fruit in the future, can't it be changed again? These destiny fruit Dragon Dust dare not use for the time being. You need to wait until there is a stronger destiny fruit and find someone to try. With excitement, Long Chen began to work and threw the bodies handled by Xia Chen and Guo Ran into the black soil one by one. Ordinary corpses, Xia Chen and Guo Ran don't want them. They have long been thrown into the black soil for decomposition. Now the decomposition ability of the black soil is very amazing. The corpse of the quasi-destiny will be swallowed up in an incense-burning time. The body of the immortal strong can be completely decomposed in only an hour from the original days to now. When those powerful corpses are decomposed, the power of life released makes all vegetation in chaotic space grow madly. Soon, Chiba Xinguang Snow Lotus bloomed again. Longshan picked all 3 Xinguang stamens and planted them in the soil again. Because the vitality is too huge, the holy light stamen just entered the soil, took root and sprouted instantly and grew rapidly. 1 plant produces 3 and 3 produces 9. Because the bodies are constantly thrown into the black soil, Chiba Xinguang Snow Lotus is breeding rapidly. At that moment, even the heaven and earth tripod couldn't help running in and circling on the 1,000-leaf holy light snow lotus. The 1,000-leaf holy light snow lotus was very important to it. Even if it was calm, it became a little excited. As the corpses were thrown in, not only the Chiba Xinguang Snow Lotus, but also countless vegetation, among which the ancient Fusang wood and Taiyin would change the most. On their leaves, burning flames, but the power is condensed but not sent, gathered but not scattered. Countless flame runes grow on each leaf. Dragon Dust finally took his sight away from the Chiba Xinguang Snow Lotus and came under the Fusang ancient wood. With a big hand, a sky-covering leaf slowly fell from the tree. When the leaves hundreds of miles around fell into the hands of Dragon Dust, they were only the size of a palm. The leaves were made of gold, and their weight was also very amazing, just like the magic soldiers made of cash. On the edge of the leaves, there are also serrated lines, which look sharp and abnormal. When Long Chen took out a long sword and cut it on the leaves, it made a sound of gold and iron, and sparks splashed. The long sword not only failed to cut the leaves, but also jumped out of a gap the size of a grain of rice. Powerful, even boundary artifact can't be damaged. The Dragon Dust shook his hand and the leaves shot out. Boom! The leaves exploded in the void, and the golden flame burst out, covering tens of thousands of miles of space. A small leaf has such terrible destructive power. This is a natural flame seal script. There will be another big move in the future. Long Chen laughed. Although the power of this leaf is amazing, the Dragon Dust can't use it, because it can't threaten the immortal strong and those who will be destined for heaven. But with the decomposition of the corpse, the ancient wood of Fusang and the wood of Taiyin are getting stronger and stronger. There are runes on its leaves. They will certainly grow into terrorist killers in the future. Even the leaves are so strong that the branches are even more amazing, but Longchen hasn't figured out how to use them. Fusang ancient wood and Taiyin wood are growing wildly. Of course, Huolinger is the happiest. She is like a greedy cat, guarding her fish pond and eating full every day. With the decomposition of the corpse, the chaotic space is constantly changing. Countless laws are brought into the chaotic space with the decomposition of runes. In the chaotic space, it seems that one side of the world is evolving automatically. On the 9 days, Lei Linger turns into a thunder dragon and wanders back and forth among the clouds, because there are endless thunder flowing there. These thunder powers were brought by decomposing corpses. At first, Longchen didn't understand why these corpses would decompose the thunder power. Longchen also specially consulted the Heaven and Earth tripod. But the answer of the Heaven and Earth tripod is very simple: natural disaster. At that moment, Longchen suddenly realized that natural disaster gave them strength and was absorbed by the chaotic space when the corpse was decomposed. Today's Lei Linger is no longer like before. He can only eat when the dragon dust crosses the robbery, because after those terrible strong men are decomposed, they will release the powerful force of thunder and gather on the 9 days. Lei Linger finally has his own place of practice. Time passed quickly while everyone was busy. After half a month, Xia Chen and Guo Ran finally handled the body. At this time, Yi Ling and Yi Shui came, and Yi Ling said excitedly, "We opened the eyes of Xianling." Hearing the news, Longchen was refreshed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4463 The Eye of the Xianling is another channel of the Xianling world. The Xianling world is not an independent world. It has 2 openings. One is connected to the Minghouse sky, while the other is connected to the mysterious world. The endless chaotic qi in the Xianling world comes from the mysterious world. At the beginning, Longchen also encountered such a place in the No Man's world, but the difference between the two is that the channel of the Xianling world is directly connected to the mysterious world. The mysterious spring in the No Man's world can only feel the influx of chaos, but can't walk through it. The reason why Longchen is so anxious to help the Earth Spirit family recapture the Xianling world also has his own selfishness. When he heard of the Xianling Eye, he wants to know what kind of world it connects. When the Dragon Dust 3 were busy, the strong men of the Earth Spirit family collectively launched to look for the eyes of the Xianling, and finally found the eyes of the Xianling under the nest of the evil demon family. The evil demon family is one of the old enemies of the Earth Spirit family. They occupy a powerful terrain and want to seal the Xianling Eye and enjoy the chaos brought by the Xianling Eye alone. However, the qi of chaos cannot be sealed. The evil demon family forcibly sealed it. As a result, the seal burst open and almost destroyed the evil demon family. At that moment, the evil demon family understood a truth. At most, they can only enjoy the convenience brought to them by the Xianling Eye, but they can't enjoy it alone. However, they also use a lot of brains, that is, let the purest chaotic qi stay in their territory as much as possible, which is more conducive to their practice. The strong people of the Earth Spirit family don't care about these. The chaotic qi between heaven and earth can't be absorbed. The actions of the evil demon family don't affect their cultivation. However, the evil demon family did not know this. In order to prevent the Earth Spirit family from competing for the Xianling Eye one day, they arranged countless mechanisms to hide the breath of the Xianling Eye, so that the Earth Spirit family only knew the arrival of the qi of chaos, but did not know where it came from. This time, the evil demon family was slaughtered. The high level who knew the secret had long been killed by the Lord of the Temple and the Dragon Blood Legion. The remaining miscellaneous fish didn't know the secret at all, so the Earth Spirit family spent a lot of effort to find the entrance of Xuanling's eye under the nest of the evil demon family, and informed Longchen at the first time. Longchen was overjoyed when he heard the news. He immediately asked Guo Ran and Xiachen to clean up and have a look together. Originally, Guo Ran and Xiachen didn't want to see the eyes of Xianling, because they had just decomposed the saint's body. Xia Chen extracted the saint's crystal core and blood essence. He wanted to start studying and making super seal characters. Guoran also wanted to try whether he could engrave holy runes on the armor to further improve the power of the armor. It can be said that both of them can't wait. But the boss had a life, and the two of them had to follow. When the three came to the ancestral land of the evil demon family, they found that it was already a piece of ruins. The original buildings were almost demolished, and countless green plants appeared, which seemed to be purifying the land. When he came to the core area of the building, a space of tens of thousands of miles had been cleared, and Longchen finally saw the eyes of Xianling. Xuanling's eye is a lake, as long and narrow as eyes. The lake surface is as flat as a mirror, and the endless gas of chaos is dense and rising. The pure chaotic qi is like turning the best chaotic spirit into water mist. Xia Chen couldn't help jumping wildly when he saw this scene. This fog is comparable to the spirit gathering array condensed by his best chaotic spirit stones. You know, there are not many best chaotic spirit stones in Xia Chen. They are regarded as treasures one by one. They are basically used in his and Guoran's casters and inscriptions. They are not willing to put them on the spirit gathering array at all. The chaotic gas on the lake is extremely rich. It is simply a natural best soul gathering array. The Dragon Blood Legion will get twice the result with half the effort. For them, it is a fairyland. The unbounded spring is a far cry from it. Guoran couldn't help sighing. They rushed into the no-man's world with dragon dust and competed for the qi of chaos with the local Tianjiao. At that time, they thought that the spring was already a precious existence, but compared with here, it was absolutely nothing. Yi Ling, have you seen it below? Longchen asked. Yi Ling shook his head and said, the holy tree doesn't allow us to go down. He said he was afraid that we would be contaminated with too much cause and effect. Therefore, we came to inform you at the first time. Cause and effect? I have nothing to be afraid of. Longchen smiled. Obviously, the holy tree can see farther. It doesn't let Yi Ling and others intervene, but reports to Longchen. That means that it also knows that Longchen is not afraid of this cause and effect. Longchen nodded and asked Yi Ling and Yi Shui to help keep here. In case of any emergency, let's take a hand. After saying that, Longchen took Xia Chen and Guoran into the eyes of Xianling. When he entered the eyes of Xianling, Longchen was shocked. What Longchen didn't expect was that the eyes of Xianling, which looked ordinary, were cold to the bone, while Guoran summoned the armor to protect himself for the first time. Xia Chen also condensed the boundary of runes and seal characters to wrap himself up. The eye of Xianling is a straight downward channel. The more it goes down, the colder it is. Soon, frost has been on Guoran's armor, but strangely, the water in the eye of Xianling is not frozen. Although the water here is cold and piercing, the dragon dust is strong and doesn't care. Xia Chen's shield is a kind of boundary, which can completely isolate the temperature. There's no need to worry. The three dive quickly. 100. 200. 300. The more downward, the greater the water pressure. The terrible cold is not only aimed at the flesh, but at the soul. At that moment, Guoran can't stand it. Boss, I think. Okay, you go back. Longchen knew what shit he was going to shit when he looked at his puckered ass. Although Guoran is powerful and can fight the destiny, his strength depends on his armor. Here, his armor defense ability seems to be limited. When the cold invades the soul, this guy begins to retreat. Longchen didn't force him either. He continued to go down with Xia Chen. Xia Chen's soul power was very strong. Otherwise, he couldn't control thousands of Taoist symbols and seal characters at one breath. Xuanling's eyes are deep and bottomless. The more downward, the stronger the pressure. Fortunately, Xia Chen is not Guoran. His fighting power, willpower and soul are super strong, and he has been closely following Longchen. Boss, it's almost the end. Suddenly Xia Chen shouted in surprise, because there was no darkness below, and finally saw the light. The two people suddenly came to the spirit and rushed straight to the light. However, when they were hundreds of miles away from the light, Longchen and Xia Chen suddenly felt that there was a powerful force blocking them and could not move forward. Bounded, Xia Chen's face changed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4464. When it was hundreds of miles away from the exit, the strong pressure formed the essence, and Longchen and Xiachen were blocked and could not move forward again. Longchen stretched out his hand and probed forward. His tentacles were soft and very elastic. When he touched them gently, it shrank slowly, but the strength increased by tens of thousands of kilograms every inch. If you push hard, the elasticity disappears, and the front is like a piece of stars lying there. Don't want to move forward at all. Longchen pushed hard. As a result, his chest was hurt by the terrible force, which surprised him. The boundary was too terrible. When Longchen was shocked, Xiachen had begun to study this boundary, but the more he studied, the more dignified Xiachen's face became. How can you break it? Longchen asked. No solution. This is a boundary without solution, which cannot be broken by manpower. Xiachen looked dignified. He had never seen such a difficult boundary without a flaw. Xiachen is helpless in the face of it because he can't find the direction of cracking. This is the boundary generated by the interaction of the two worlds. If you want to break it, you must understand all the laws of the two worlds. Let alone the mysterious world opposite, it is impossible to study the laws of the mysterious spiritual world for tens of millions of years. Because the law of a world is not invariable, it itself is also evolving and progressing, and will change under the influence of the outside world. Therefore, Xiachen directly used the word no solution, that is to say, it is useless for not only him, but also any array mage to come. Unless someone is stronger than the sum of the two worlds, violence will break it. But is there such a person in the world? Hearing Xiachen say that there is no solution, Longchen's heart sank immediately. He knows Xiachen's strength very well, that is to say, by his happy. They can't go along the channel to see the opposite world. However, I have a way to let us get closer to the hole. Boss, wait a minute and let me try. Xiachen said. As he spoke, Xiachen took out the array plates one by one and blessed them around. Sometimes he took out hundreds of them at a time, and sometimes tens of thousands. When the dense array plates were embedded around, Longchen obviously felt that the blocking force in front became smaller. Half an hour later, millions of array plates floated in the void, and sweat was seen on Xiachen's forehead. When did you get so rich? When he saw so many array discs, Longchen was shocked. These array discs need countless efforts and time. Hey, with Sister Kinkchuan's pill, I saved the time of cultivation. I spent all my time on depicting array plates and seal characters. This is all my family, boss. Let's move forward slowly. When we reach the limit, we can't move forward, otherwise it will cause the exclusion of the border, and my family will suddenly become nothingness. Xiachen said. This is Xiachen's limit. He can't break the barrier, but he can be as close to the entrance as possible within the allowable range of the barrier, provided that the exclusion of the barrier can't be triggered. Longchen nodded. They moved forward carefully and had to admire Xiachen's array. They came to a position tens of feet away from the entrance. There seems to be a huge mirror at the entrance. When they get close to the mirror, Longchen and Xiachen stop at the same time. This is the limit. If they take a step forward, they will trigger the boundary exclusion, and the array plates arranged by Xiachen will collapse in an instant, and Longchen and Xiachen are also in danger of death or injury. However, when we came here, we could already see the situation outside the entrance. At the beginning, the boundary was turbulent and the outside world was blurred. However, as the two people stopped moving, the mirror in front of us began to become transparent and the scenery became clear. When they saw the opposite scene clearly, Longchen and Xiachen both jumped wildly. Xiachen's eyes almost protruded and his voice became stuttered. That's. In front of us are mountains with endless peaks, but there are no trees to cover them. The bare mountains are exposed in front of us. However, there was a little golden glow on the bare mountains. When Xiachen saw that little golden glow, he pointed to them and was too excited to speak. Although Longchen doesn't know much about Xianjin, seeing the lines on the golden glow, He knows that this thing is absolutely extraordinary. Boss, it should be holy level divine material, and it is also original stone divine material. It has super divinity. If you use it to make an arrow, you can kill the saint. Xiaqin shouted excitedly. The key is, what's the use of knowing it? We can't get it? Longchen couldn't help saying. Longchen was also angry. He had tried to calm himself down and kept telling himself not to move for what he couldn't get, but Xiaqin was still crying there. In front of a mountain, there are countless fist-sized pieces of gold pimples, which seem within reach, but the distance in front of us makes people feel so helpless. There's still. Xiaqin pointed to the nearby mountain and screamed. There were black things on the nearby mountain. Longchen didn't know, but Xiaqin knew that it was also a holy material. Longchen feels that his heart can't stand it. Baby can see it, but he can't touch it. The feeling of scratching his heart and liver is worse than torture. Looking into the distance, Longchen found that in the distance of the barren mountain, there was a lush forest. The sky was unusually blue. The stars seemed to be overhead. The whole heaven and earth exuded the original taste, as if this was the most primitive appearance of the Honghuang world. The whole world is silent, as if there is no life, but the world is like a treasure that has never been developed. At a glance, it is exciting. That must be the legendary sacred wind iron. If it is matched with wind copper to make it soft, and then branded with blood-drinking runes, it will burst into the body. Shit, the power is unimaginable. And that silver thing, although it can't be seen clearly, the grain will not be wrong. That is the holy level almighty material that Guoran dreamed of. Thanks to him, he didn't come, otherwise he would have to cry. Xiaqin changed his composure in the past, and Longchen ignored him, and he even talked to himself. Xiaqin just talks to himself, but Longchen is worried by his words. Xiaqin doesn't speak. He can pretend not to know these things, but Xiaqin says everything one by one, as if he was afraid that Longchen doesn't know their value. Kaka! They were observing. Suddenly, a rock moved on the hillside in front of them. When they saw the movable rock, Longchen shouted excitedly. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4465. The rock was as like as 2 peas, but not a rock, but a creature with a rock texture. When it moved, Longchen was excited. It was a stone spirit. It should rest here and get up now. Hello. Longchen saw the stone creature and immediately waved to it, but the creature couldn't hear his voice and didn't look at him. After it moved, it didn't immediately take the next step. It fell on the stone again and didn't move. At the moment when it didn't move, Longchen and Xiaqin almost lost their goal, and its body seemed to be integrated with the stone mountain. At that moment, Longchen and Xiaqin were shocked. They didn't see it before. They thought they were not careful enough. It's amazing to watch it disappear now. The camouflage ability is too strong. It seems that this mysterious world is also dangerous. Longchen said. Xiaqin nodded. The stone creature can have such a powerful camouflage ability. It must be because of the threat of terror that it is forced to form such an ability. However, across the border, they can't feel the breath of the stone creature and don't know what level of existence it belongs to. After a while, the stone creature moved again. After moving for a while, it stopped again and again. It seemed to be testing something. The stone creature was very careful. After moving several times, he put down his guard and began to move slowly. He climbed to the top of the stone mountain and began to observe everywhere. As it gradually shed its camouflage, the dragon dust found that the stone creature was somewhat similar to a lizard, with a long tail trailing behind and covered with scales with stone patterns. Its scales, along with its movement, constantly fuse with the surrounding stone lines, making it difficult to find it. When he climbed to the top of the mountain and began to look around, Longchen waved again. Suddenly, Longchen had an idea, took out a colored flag and waved it to attract the attention of the stone creature. It saw us. When the stone creature turned around, Xiaqin shouted excitedly. Longchen also jumped wildly, continued to wave the flag, and looked at the eyes of the stone creature at the same time. The stone creature's eyes are dark red, just like a red gem. It closes its eyes most of the time, but it shows its eyes when facing the dragon dust. It's the stone spirit family, haha, there's hope. When he saw the stone creature's eyes clearly, Long Chen was very happy. This is one of the spirit families, and it's also a good spirit. The stone creature saw Long Chen waving the flag, then fell to the ground and didn't move. At the same time, he closed his eyes and ignored them. Long Chen and Xia Chen were immediately disappointed, and others ignored them. Long Chen was stunned at first, then closed his eyes, quietly felt everything around, and extended to the outside world with his own perception. Sure enough, dragon dust caught the soul wave, but because there was a boundary, the perception was very vague. At this time, the stone creature finally moved. It rushed to the front of the barrier and looked at Long Chen and Xia Chen. Long Chen and Xia Chen were overjoyed. Before Long Chen could figure out how to communicate with him, Xia Chen began to compare, pointing to the immortal gold and iron on the distant mountain, pointing to himself, and then praying with his hands together. The stone creature looked at dragon dust and Xia Chen. It seemed that he didn't understand Xia Chen's gesture. At this time, Long Chen wants to use perception to establish communication with the stone creature, but the boundary force is too strong. He can only perceive each other, but he can't convey any emotional information. Long Chen kept trying to communicate, but they all failed. Xia Chen repeated those actions and persevered. The stone creature seems to have never dealt with the human race and never understood Xia Chen's meaning, but in the end, it finally moved, ran to the immortal gold pointed by Xia Chen and pulled it down. At that moment, Xia Chen shouted excitedly, and the stone creature finally understood what he meant. Waved and asked it to slowly close the immortal gold to the border. After watching it for a while, the stone creature seemed to understand Xia Chen's meaning. He came to the border and slowly moved the spherical immortal gold with a diameter of feet closer to the border. Buzz, suddenly the boundary trembled. The spherical immortal gold slowly sank into the water like boundary and slowly flew to Long Chen. Seeing this scene, Long Chen and Xia Chen shouted excitedly. They wanted to hold the stone and kiss it. It's really good. Dragon Dust excitedly gestured to the stone creature to express his gratitude. This time, the stone creature seemed to understand the meaning of Dragon Dust, opened his mouth and looked very happy. Long Chen is very fond of the spirit family. He also has countless blessings of the spirit family. Therefore, Long Chen will be very excited when he sees the spirit of the spirit family, because he knows that the creature will help it. It's like whenever the spirit family asks him for help, he will never refuse. The immortal gold slowly floated in front of Long Chen and Xia Chen. It unexpectedly passed through the border so easily. At that moment, Xia Chen shouted excitedly and reached out to pick it up, but was pushed away by Long Chen. Buzz, Long Chen caught the immortal gold with both hands, and the green tendons suddenly burst up on Long Chen's arms. The weight of the immortal gold is amazing. If Xia Chen goes to get it, his arms will be broken in a moment. Xia Chen was afraid for a while. He was so excited that he forgot that the holy immortal gold was amazing. It seemed light in the enchantment, but it was actually comparable to the stars. Both of them carefully looked at the lines on Xianjin and couldn't help jumping wildly. Xia Chen was even more surprised. The purity is unimaginable. It doesn't look like or at all, but refined immortal gold. When I personally touched this fairy gold and felt the terrible smell of fairy gold, I realized how amazing this fairy gold is. Hoo-hoo! Seeing the two people dancing with excitement, the stone creature was very smart. Knowing that they wanted it, he immediately grabbed another piece and threw it in. Take it easy. Xia Chen was startled and shouted loudly. The stone creature didn't put it gently, but directly threw a piece of fairy gold in. Xianjin was thrown in one by one. This time, Xia Chen's face was not surprised, but turned white with fear. The stone creature was still excited to throw in pieces of fairy gold. Suddenly, it found a fairy gold as big as its body, bent down and raised a piece of fairy gold several feet high. When he threw the huge piece of fairy gold into the border suddenly vibrated and formed a huge vortex. Boom! With a loud bang, the boundary suddenly turned black. Because the transparent boundary in front of us suddenly turned into a huge black hole, and the figures of Dragon Dust and Xiaqin disappeared. The stone creature stood quietly in front of the boundary, looked at the dark boundary in front of him, and then touched his head. He didn't know what had happened. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4466, Rewind. Long Chen and Xiaqin stopped drinking almost at the same time. They couldn't care to collect the immortal gold and quickly retreated. When they were out of the exclusion range of the border, Xiaqin put away the array plate for the first time. Boom! There was a loud noise, and a terrible undercurrent came from the enchantment. Long Chen and Xiaqin were pushed out by the undercurrent. Hoo-hoo! Xiaqin consecutively offered runes and seal characters to strengthen his defense. He felt that he was going to be crushed. They were pushed through by the terrible undercurrent. Suddenly, there was a loud noise, and Yi Ling and Yi Shui screamed in their ears. Yi Ling and Yi Shui guarded Zunling's eyes, and there was no movement all the time. Suddenly, the water level of Zunling's eyes dropped rapidly, and then spewed out rapidly. Then they saw Dragon Dust and Xiaqin flying out. Boom, boom. Then one stone after another was sprayed out and hit the ground hard. God, what's this? In the frightened eyes of Yi Ling and Yi Shui, Guoran, who had returned because he was unable to dive, now his eyes will protrude. When Guoran saw these natural fairy gold, he kept yelling, while Long Chen ran to the eye of Xianling for the first time. At this time, the eyes of Xianling recovered their smooth appearance like a mirror again, but when Long Chen stood on it, he found that the water surface had been semi-solidified and people could not enter it. Not only that, the chaotic gas gushing from the eyes of Xianling disappeared. At that moment, Long Chen was startled. If the eyes of the Xianling are closed from now on, the Xianling world will be finished. For a few pieces of immortal gold, let the Xianling world have no chaos from now on, and it will bring misery to the Earth Spirit family. At this time, Yi Ling and Yi Shui's faces changed, and they also came to the eyes of Xianling, as if standing on the ice. Fortunately, after a while, the water surface of Zunling's eye began to become soft again, and his hand could probe into it for several inches, and the chi of chaos began to rise slowly again. Seeing this scene, Dragon Dust was relieved, which showed that the eyes of Xianling had not been destroyed by them. Long Chen's sweat is scared out. If the Xianling eye is destroyed, Long Chen will not be at ease in his life. After an hour, Zunling's eye can dive again, but the dive distance is only a few feet. I'm afraid I don't know how long it will take to dive into the water again. Thinking of the stone creature in the world opposite Zunling's eye, he was still waiting for them. It was estimated that the stone creature was also confused and didn't know what had happened before. Next time, I don't know if it's still there. Long Chen sighed in his heart and returned to Zunling's eye with a complex mood. After coming up, Long Chen found that Guoran was talking to himself with those immortal gold, just like crazy. Xiaqin spread countless array plates all over the earth and checked them one by one to see if they were damaged. Thanks to his quick harvest at that time, he only lost hundreds of array plates, and the rest were intact. If he collected them slowly, all these array plates would be damaged and he would cry. Boss, the biggest immortal gold here, let me help you forge a weapon. Just then, Guoran ran over and excited. Hearing Guoran's words, Long Chen's heart pounded. Since Minghong's knife was broken, he had no weapons in his hand anymore. Even the Kaitian 9 moves have not been studied. Ordinary weapons can't bear the terrible power of stars at all. If there was a magic weapon in hand, his combat power would certainly go to a higher level. At the beginning, he had a fierce battle with the dark dragon Tianzhao. If there was a powerful magic weapon, it would be easier for him to win. When hearing that Guoran wanted to build a magic weapon, Long Chen immediately thought of a dark, fierce, and towering magic weapon. Thinking of it, Long Chen couldn't help but feel a pain in his heart. He sighed and said, "If these immortal gold can be refined, I'd better arm my brothers first. I don't need any weapons now. We'll study it first. I can give my brothers weapons and start cutting again. Guoran smiled. This big guy didn't see the change of Longchen's mood at all. After getting the cash, Guoran directly took Xiachen away and they went to study how to refine this holy immortal gold. Now they have harvested a large number of the blood essence of the strong, including the blood essence of the saint and runes. Now they have holy immortal materials, and they suddenly have a broad space for development. Yi Shui and Yi Ling also returned to the clan and began to command the clansmen to mine the spirit stones here. They knew that Longchen needed these, and they had nothing to give to Longchen. They could only express their gratitude to Longchen and others in this way. Longchen stays in Zunling's eye day and night. Finally, Zunling's eye can only dive for tens of feet. In this way, Longchen is completely dead. According to this speed, I'm afraid he can't dive to the other side again in the next few months. The matter of Zunling's eye can only be put aside for the time being. The dragon dust returns to the ancestral land of the Earth Spirit family. The immortal spirit is already steaming here. Thousands of immortal lights are hanging on the huge holy tree. The dragon blood soldiers are practicing with their eyes closed. When he saw the accomplishments of the dragon blood soldiers, Longchen was startled. He hadn't seen them for a few days. Most of them had reached the world king Jichangshan, and only a few people still stayed in Bakongshan. By Shishir, Yu Qingxian and others were in a state of unity of heaven and man. At that moment, Longchen understood that no wonder their cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. The feeling is that there is a holy tree to help them. Otherwise, even with the support of pills, they would not be promoted so fast. It's rare to have nothing to do. It's a good time to improve the realm. Longchen has been haunted by all kinds of trivial things. He hasn't practiced quietly for a long time. It's rare that no one bothers here. He took out a holy light snow lotus pill and swallowed it. Boom! The power of Xinguang Xuelian pill exploded in Longchen's body. At that moment, Longchen suddenly trembled. With a soft power, he lifted his body up and floated directly into the air. It was a holy tree and sent him to the tree crown. There, the dragon dust saw the twinkling stars in the sky, and the spirit of the whole tree crown was rising. All of them rushed to him. Thank you. Dragon dust quickly thanked the holy tree. It was helping him practice. While absorbing the pill, dragon dust also needed to absorb the aura of heaven and earth. Usually he needed to summon the divine ring, but now with the help of the holy tree, he didn't need it. The endless leaves are like a spirit-gathering array. Without the interference of the enemy, it can extract the power of the whole Xianling world and bless Longchen. Buzz, hundreds of millions of divine light wrapped the dragon dust. When the endless aura poured into the dragon dust and integrated with the medicine power of Xinguang Xuelian pill in the dragon dust, it madly improved the breath of the dragon dust. Just entering the body, the power of Xinguang Xuelian pill was released almost in an instant. Longchen was surprised and happy. It became too easy for him to absorb the medicine with the help of the holy tree. However, the medicine of this pill did not send him to the seventh heaven. Obviously, after entering the later stage of Jiewang, the medicine consumed became more and more terrible, and Longchen bit his teeth. In one breath he sent the remaining holy light snow lotus pills, one by one, to the entrance. When the pill enters the body, its power rushes to the 4 limbs and bones of dragon dust like a flood, but the 7 heavy sky bottleneck of dragon dust is extremely firm. Until the power of the last holy light snow lotus pill dispersed, the shackles of dragon dust were finally washed away, and a loud noise broke out from dragon dust, and the violent power rushed into the sky. After entering the 7 heavy days, Longchen obviously felt that his body had become stronger again, and the affinity of the stars in the heavens had become stronger. The 7 heavy days was a watershed from the middle to the later stage of the king of the world. Elder, are you free? We should refine pills. Dragon dust called to the heaven and earth tripod. This time, he wanted to rush to the peak of the upper kingdom. Ninefold. The fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.